going on? What's going on? Welcome to Lapeef Sports on the Lapeef Network. Appreciate you, gentlemen, for tuning in tonight. Thank you as always, and appreciate you guys out there. Make sure you guys get the likes up. Also, hit the subscribe button. What's going on, gentlemen? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. What's going on, man?
Happy
Man, I can't
Sunday.
complain. Can't complain, man. It's another coming off the holiday weekend, so you know how it is. Still trying to get my groove back. Of course, I'm throwing off course, but I plan on being right back on track starting this afternoon. I ain't gonna wait till tomorrow. I'm gonna get everything in line immediately.
Yeah, I had to fight
What's
off. I
going
had
on,
to fight
fellas?
off that itis. I had to fight off that itis the last couple of days. So, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, bro.
Starting tomorrow, I'm gonna be on it.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. I do have a link posted. We're gonna try something a little different. So if you guys do want to tap in at any given time throughout the broadcast, just feel free to click that link. We're gonna hop right into it, man. I know we're a little bit late, and unfortunately, we have to wait until Sunday to discuss some of these things that's going on. But let's talk about the whole LeBron situation right here. LeBron explains why he shouldn't have been suspended. Let me start off by asking you guys this: do you feel as though the suspensions were fair?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
feel like
I think they both should have got 2 games. I think, we aggressor or not the aggressor, man. I thought clearly that the rule stated is if you put your hands on another player, you get a suspension, period. Is what it is. You throw a punch, you strike somebody, you gotta have a seat. So I don't even know what his possible complaint could be. The rules are the rules, you know what I'm saying? But if we're gonna take a look at it from an emotional standpoint, I mean, bro, you responded. You know what I mean? You responded in kind. You should have probably responded. I'm okay with that, but you did what you did. Just take your L and move on. He's so worried about being portrayed as a bad guy. Like, you can say whatever you want about LeBron, that slides off. But the minute he's painted as a bad guy or an overly aggressive guy, or God forbid, almost like a thug or a street guy, he flips out, bro. He does not like that. And he need to talk to somebody about that. It's not healthy, man.
Yeah, like I think he did went overboard, man. I mean, they're running through the tunnel trying to get to. It just painted me back when I just started immediately thinking about Meta World Peace. When I started seeing those tactics, man, him trying to get going through, I'm like, man. And then afterwards, I seen that like I think it was Melo saying he ain't gonna come over here. He ain't gonna come over here, and we ain't having that. So I just thought it was just too much, man. At that given point, you got blood everywhere, dripping everywhere. It's like, dude, come on, man.
I I feel like the suspension was legit. I mean, I think it was fair. I think it was fair. Like you said, he probably should have got 2 games, but the one game it's fair, regardless of how it happened, was an accident or intentional. You don't know no man's intent. Only he does. But to me, I felt like it was fair. 2 games probably should have been what it should have been, but the one game is fair. I don't see anything wrong with it. So I don't know what LeBron is really complaining about. It's one game. It probably helped him. You probably gonna sit out that next game anyway against the Knicks. So it is what it is.
And I think that LeBron is always trying to control his own narrative. He's always trying to get ahead of whatever the national perspective and national reaction would be. So I'm not surprised that he came out looking to try to defend himself and defend his actions. But I agree with the suspension too. I actually felt like it should have been 2 games. LeBron likes to act like he's this clean player. And I mean, he is for the most part, but that's more due to his reputation and not so much his actual behavior on the court. LeBron has plenty of history with little plays here and there, little jabs to guys, you know what I mean, getting into certain kind of fouls, getting into certain kind of scuffles. And so I find it interesting that everyone was so quick to be like, oh, it was an accident. He really didn't mean to hit him like that. Like, yes, he did. LeBron is a big dude. So let's not pretend like he don't like to throw his weight around. He don't like to show guys, even though he's LeBron and he's a guy with a smile on his face, a lot of times he will go there with you. He is not from, no clean cut suburbs. I'm sure once upon a time he had to be in the mean playgrounds playing, hooping with guys just like Kevin Durant and everybody else used to. So the idea that, he's, infallible or he's not capable of doing dirty plays and he thinks that he can kind of get away with it by his own reaction in real time, I think that that's where he tries to fool everybody. But LeBron has little elbows here and there, you know what I mean? The whole when he was in Cleveland and he was doing the step over on Draymond that got Draymond kicked suspended in the finals game. You know, LeBron was the instigator of that. And he was kind of able to lean on his reputation to really make Draymond out to be the bad guy there. Plus, Draymond had his own reputation. So it kind of played itself out. But if you go back and really look, LeBron initiated contact. He was the one that kind of caused the situation. And, you know, he was able to kind of skate through that without his reputation kind of taking a hit. So I think that the dude running around acting like he wanted to fight and go crazy and go berserker style on everybody was way out of line. You know what I mean? That's a bad look just on the optics for the NBA. So I see why he got his suspension. His was more conduct detrimental to the league versus anything that was going on between him and LeBron versus what LeBron went through, which was, you know, I would call it dirty play. And LeBron's been undercover, low key, getting these little plays in and out, you know, his whole career, I would say.
Yeah, I think I did want to switch it, and you transitioned pretty nicely. Do you guys think that little jab was on purpose? According to Isaiah, he said that he believed that it was intentional. I just want to kind of get you guys' thoughts. I mean, it kind of looked like, I don't think that he meant to hit him in the face, but I do think that he was intentionally, you know, wanted to put a little something on him. But
Oh yeah,
unfortunately, it did hit his face.
Man, I still
yeah, I
hoop
think
and I still do that occasionally.
yeah,
I'm a
yeah. I
dirty
think he
old man on the court, dog.
I think he wanted to get him back him up off of him. That's for sure. I mean, most players do. I mean, that's a common thing to get a guy's hands up off of. Yeah, you see it at that jockey for position all the time at that free throw line. So that's a common occurrence anyway. So I think, you know, yeah, was he intentionally doing it? Yeah, I don't think he meant to hit him in his face. That's the only part I don't see. He might want to hit him in his ribs, give him a little rib shot. You know what I'm saying? A little elbow to the kidneys. But I don't think he was legitimately going for the man's face. I hope he wasn't. I don't think that's the LeBron style, but you never know. In his old age, you got to take advantage of anything you can, man.
Right. What about you, Kai? You think that was intentional?
Absolutely. He for sure did that thing on purpose. If you watch the slow motion, this man, he like looked before he swung. It's very quick and it all kind of happens in real time. It looks fast. But you know, when they slow it down, you can kind of see how it went. Before he swung his elbow, LeBron looked first. So his eyes went to Isaiah before his hand did.
So you saying you
So,
think he meant to hit him in the face?
oh yeah, I don't think he
Oh,
meant to hit him and start bleeding. But LeBron is 6'8", and his elbow way up here, so he know where the dude's head is at. He know, you know, when they kind of tied up waiting for that rebound, he know where they're at. LeBron not, you know, oblivious of what's going on around him. You know what I mean? I don't think he meant to strike him to make him bleed or hit him in his eye necessarily, but
yeah.
he swung that hand on purpose. You know what I mean? He wasn't losing
Right.
his balance and swung it as he lost his balance.
So like, he was
That
over there
man
throwing a
swung on him.
tantrum,
Yeah.
huh? He was
Yeah.
throwing a little
So now,
tantrum.
in LeBron's defense, though, I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate. In LeBron's defense, Isaiah Stewart then got into a couple scuffles with a couple dudes in the league, and I imagine LeBron
Hey,
just want to show like he's not really going for that either. So you know, I think Isaiah Stewart got into it with Blake Griffin, like he had that whole Blake Griffin scuffle. I think he's gotten into it with a few other guys since he's been in the league. So I don't think that it's anything personal between them or anything like that. I just think that LeBron wanted to show Isaiah that he's not necessarily the guy to be trying to push all on. And then Isaiah Stewart was using the, you know, the hold me back type fighting style, you know, and then cause this big commotion. So I think that, yeah, I think LeBron did that thing on purpose. I think that he's not LeBron again. Even this question goes back to LeBron trying to control the narrative throughout his career. For us to even question, oh, was it an accident or did he do a thing on purpose? It was on purpose. LeBron knows what he's doing. He got full control over his body. He wanted to show Isaiah Stewart that he's not the one. And it kind of went overboard because of the blood. Had there not been no blood, it just would have been a flagrant foul. We would have went about our day. It had got maybe a little bit of news coverage the next day, and we would have moved on. But because he's seeing red and he got blood on his jersey, blood on his lip, you know what I mean? It was a rough scene all the way around. I think it's what happened.
Well, I
okay.
think the scary part, man, I don't think I mean, it was a scary situation because that's all your mind kept going back to is the malice in the palace. Because this situation turned into that. I mean, it was kind of hectic down there. And I see one of the officers look like he's supposed to be involved, but he backed away like he didn't want no parts of that. I mean, I don't know what that security was thinking about. He wasn't doing his job. They had to evaluate that dude.
Yeah, you know what? Like as an officer, I imagine it has to be tough because at some point in time, now we're not even talking about basketball no more. So I'm just wondering if they're ever thinking about tasing, in which they're celebrities, so they probably don't want to be the one to have to tase one of these NBA players. But I'm sitting there looking at the height difference, the mass difference. I mean, these some big guys. And so if that guy was to come around, what happens? Because it almost looked like the officer was just waiting on the refs and the players to try to get control of the situation. They looking around to see who's looking at them. And then with everything going on as far as officers across the world, I can't imagine that headline. And you being
That's
that guy.
honestly the best way to handle it. That's the best way. Let the players and the refs sort it out, and do your as an officer, make sure that innocent people don't get hurt in the process. That's what you need to do. But let the players kind of like sort it out, man. It ain't never going. I mean, you got the malice in the palace, I think, was an anomaly. For the most part,
Yeah.
you got 30 grown men on the court who can sort this out one way or the other without it going completely insane. I think that's a missing part of the league right now is the ability for them to police themselves. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of people spazzing out right now.
Yeah, that's got to be tough for security. I never really thought about it that way. I used to work at the at Soldier Field for the Chicago Bears, and I've seen when scuffles break out. Yeah, when scuffles break out, how security they got to jump in there and break it up, and a lot of times security they don't really have any kind of self-defense weapons or nothing like that. So in the NBA, where your average NBA player is 6'6", 225, and then your security guard is 5'10" with no real experience like that. I can't even imagine how, or if they're even expected to take part in breaking up on court fights. I do feel like that's something that the staff should be doing, the teammates should be doing, especially somebody's got to be 6'9", 250. There's no way that one security guard can hold these two dudes back. You know what I mean? Unless you got The Rock out there, it's gonna be tough for them to them tasing somebody. I think that would be, that'd be unprecedented for the security to feel like they gotta, tase somebody to keep order. But it might get to that. If they have another big on court scuffle to where the fans start to get in danger, then I imagine security and law enforcement they'll be obligated to protect the fans over the players in that situation. So, that's definitely some gray area for sure. But again, that would be on Isaiah Stewart. That's not necessarily on, even if LeBron does hit you in the face and you mad, okay, cool. Everybody understands that. You can't go running around trying to fight somebody. When he got into it with Blake Griffin, he didn't necessarily try to walk away from that. He was ready to be confrontational with that. Matter of fact, I think he got into it with Giannis, where I think Giannis was trying to walk over and say something to the guys on Detroit, and him and Isaiah Stewart came nose to nose. So clearly, he about that action. But I don't know if that's going to be good for the NBA. I'm sure he's going to have a huge target on him now with every single game and all his fouls. I don't know what his skill level is like. I wish Anton was here to be able to talk about, what he is as a player, because, he can't be Draymond Green without the Draymond Green production. So, I'm curious to see how that ends up in the future and the rest of the season. But yeah, that he puts the security, the coaches, his teammates, his training staff, he puts all of them in danger when you go running around like that. You could twist your ankle, tear your Achilles, you could do all kinds of stuff in a fluke accident.
Yeah, and I look at security should have just maintained the crowd, like y'all was saying, and let the coaches and the trainers and the referees, trying to conduct and reel in the players as needed. But security just need to watch the crowd, make sure nobody on the outside comes running in on the situation. Handle that. Handle something you could probably handle. You can't handle these grown men on these courts like that. So you might just want to stand down and let the coaches and the referees do that.
Okay. All right, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef Sports. I do have a link posted, so feel free to click the link and join the panel at any given time. I want to switch to Brooklyn real quick because Brooklyn seems to be doing pretty well without Kyrie. Let's take a look and see where they are. Brooklyn is like number one in the East right there at 14-6. So do they really even need Kyrie Irving? I know we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, but it seemed like they're not missing him.
Man, look, let Kyrie be where Kyrie is. I wouldn't have him back, man. Just let's roll with this what we got, man. Roll with what we got. You know, he's gonna come in and bring a different chemistry to the team that we really don't need right now. We're doing good. There's only really it's only to me it's a three-man race in the East. And if you bring Kyrie, man, I just think he's gonna just hurt them. Let Kyrie stay where he is.
Yeah. I mean, but at some point in time, you got to use him. You're paying him, right?
I mean, you
Yes, you
paying him,
are.
and he's gonna get his money regardless. I mean, there's nothing you could do. But yeah, look, the old saying is you can't put a price tag on happiness. If your team's doing good, we happy, everything's comfortable. You know, just keep paying him, man, to stay where he is. Hey, they did Allen Houston like that. They did Stephon Marbury like that. They did Carmelo like that. Man, that's the way the league is. Man, let that man be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't think he was going to be a big loss anyway because he wasn't the only team's ball handler or offensive facilitator. You know what I mean? Harden has proved he can play the one over a sustained period of time or whatever. Hell, you got Kevin Durant can even bring the ball up. I mean, what they run in the NBA isn't even point guard specific. Point guard is just a position that they list people at anymore. It's not even a real position anymore, man. So you got somebody who can run a pick and roll, you good. You're gonna be good, man. They're not gonna miss him. I think when I think the only time it'll kick in is if one of them dudes go down. And then they gotta play hero ball for 2-3 months at a time, trying to carry the rest of the team. That's when it's gonna hit home. KD go down, Durant go down, it's gonna be a problem. But as long as them two stay healthy, man, he can stay exactly where he is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that the Nets will be good without Kyrie Irving. I think that once you got used to him not being there and that maybe shock wears off, you realize you still got a great squad. I think James Harden has still, a little bit of figuring it out in terms of how he can put more points on the board pretty much and be more productive with them. But, New Jersey's rolling right now, or excuse me, Brooklyn is rolling right now. And I think that the team probably has still a positive place with Kyrie. So I don't think there's any toxic issues going on. And it seems like the team has all kind of accepted the fact that he's going to be here when he's here, but we're not going to worry about it, as if he's just a player on IR or something like that. That's how they have to think of it day in and day out. And so once he's back, and we'll be happy when he's here, but we're not going to be mad that he's gone. And I think that attitude has translated into why they're seeing some success because they've accepted what's going on. They're kind of relying on Patty Mills to do his thing. Of course, Kevin Durant is going to go out there and do his thing. So, and I feel like Steve Nash kind of has the ear of the locker room. He has the respect of the guys in there to where he's able to coach them up. And so it's going really well. And I think that, some of the teams in the East aren't the greatest. You know what I mean? They just beat Phoenix. And I think that Phoenix is always, kind of hit or miss when it comes to some of the top competitions. So the Nets look probably better than maybe what they are just because they've been streaking with a bunch of wins. Had they, let's say won only 7 or 8 of the past 15 games, we might be saying something different. But because they're streaking right now, it's easy for us to say, do they really need them? So I think that the proof will come as the season wanes, as we get into February and, some of the games start to wear on them. We'll see in terms of their depth if they're going to be able to sustain some of their success. But right now, it looks like they're doing really well. And their morale seems to be up, just kind of reading how they all feel about Kyrie. They're all respecting his space, respecting where he's at right now. So I think that the team is in a good place.
Okay. Let's switch it over. Let's talk about Curry, man. They just sound like they just can't lose, man. They cannot lose. I mean, they're getting better. And they're doing it with ease. They're having fun. Let's talk about these guys, man. There ain't going to be anybody able to stop them.
No,
Have you guys views changed? Are they going to win the championship? Or is it just one of those like Anton said, the season doesn't start until after Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Depends on their health, obviously. But I said this last week, man. When you watch Golden State, and specifically you watch Curry, I want you to watch something. I'm putting the coach's hat on again. Like I said, when you got guys who are shooting from 36, 35 feet, that's indefensible. That's completely indefensible, man. We call it running them off the 3-point line, whatever, right? You tell your player, if he's off the ball, you push him off the 3-point line. You don't let him set up and get a comfortable catch. But he's so damn good that you could push him off 37 feet. If he catches, it's still wet. It's still wet, bro. There's nothing you can do for this man right now. If you want to go under the pick, he's going to light you up from 37 feet. If you fight over the pick, he's going to go under and create. There's nothing you can do to stop him right now, aside from like tripping him or hurting him or something. Nothing.
Hey, as long as they healthy, man, they dangerous. They could easily just come out the West as long as they stay healthy, and then eventually Clay's gonna come back, and that just adds on to the situation. Those are more headaches a coach is gonna have to deal with. Man, I'm glad my team's not in the West and have to worry about them problems because that's a long night for any cat. Any cat. I mean,
how many games have they lost? 2, I think.
Two. Yeah, they only lost 2 games.
You think they can do it again?
Yeah, they 17-2.
You think they can? You think they can go 72, 73-9 again?
No, I don't think they want to because they know they're not spring chickens anymore. They not that goal's already been accomplished. We've been there, done that. We reaped the benefits. Unfortunately, we didn't win the championship. Because they lost to the Cleveland, but still, they did that. There's no really need for them to even try to make that attempt no more. Especially, like I said, they're up in age, man, so they know they're gonna have to realize get some rest. So I think what they're trying to do now is get all the wins they can right now. Find them games we could sit, relax, rest a little bit, and maybe let a couple of our backups, cook a little bit and do their thing, and get some rest and be ready for that long stretch. So, but I wouldn't try to attempt that. It'd be nice, but I wouldn't. It wouldn't be my goal.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me with the Warriors is in addition to Steph Curry having, pretty much an MVP caliber start to the season, the rest of the guys around the team are doing really well still too. Jordan Poole has proven to be, real reliable. Andrew Wiggins is still proven to be real reliable. They do got Clay coming back. Clay was, I don't know if y'all saw the footage. Clay was on the court, sitting on the bench, just looking like he can't wait to get out there and get the plan. So, and I'm sure they're more motivated than ever. Draymond Green has spoken about how he's feeling rejuvenated after a couple of underwhelming seasons the last 2-3 years. So, the Warriors, if they can maintain their health, I mean, yeah, I think I had the Lakers coming out the West. It might have to be Golden State Warriors now.
You got the Lakers coming out the West.
Yeah, as long as they can maintain their,
you still got the Lakers coming out the West.
I had the Lakers against the Bucks, and the Bucks winning it all. So, but I might have to change that because the Lakers looking real old, kind of low key dysfunctional. Meanwhile, the Warriors are looking like
look like the Karl Malone Lakers right now, bro.
Yeah, right. Them Gary Payton, Karl Malone Lakers is what they kind of looking like. So, meanwhile, the Warriors everything's looking up for them, and then when they get Clay back, I'm sure Clay gonna come out, gangbusters. And I think the Warriors have done really good with kind of holding him back. I'm sure they could have put him out, a month ago. He probably could have started the season if they really wanted to push it. But I'm sure their experience with Kevin Durant hurting himself, they don't want to repeat that mistake by putting Klay Thompson out there too soon. And right now, I think it's proven to be real beneficial because Klay is chomping at the bit. I think he's at full practice now. And once he comes back and they get their chemistry back going, the Warriors are going to be tough to beat.
All right, who you guys taking on the game today? It's going to be a good one. The Clippers and Golden State play today, 2:30 Central. Who y'all taking on that one? It's going to be a good game. I'm going to tune in to that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
it. Where's the game at?
I think it's in the Clippers. Let me see. Yeah, it's in LA.
I don't think it really matters. I think the Warriors
Yeah.
gonna beat them, man. I really don't think it matters where the game is. I think the Warriors it could be in Paul George's backyard, man. They gonna whoop that tail. I don't see it. I don't see it being an issue.
No, yeah, definitely the Warriors, man. They're red hot, man. They can throw the ball up literally in the air right now. It's going in. They just in that groove.
And they're a fun watch. And that's the thing. They're entertaining. It's very entertaining. And so that's the cool thing. A lot of these young cats, they love it. They love that style of basketball they play. It's like I said, it's entertaining. It's fun to watch. I'm sure I could imagine playing with them is probably how much fun they're having. And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you another guy who surprised me on that team is Dion Lee. I remember when he played for U of L, and I'm like, dude, this dude is trash. I don't think he's gonna make it to the NBA. And somehow he married Steph's sister and got on the team and maintained and is playing a vital role on the team. So
Yeah, I kind of want to switch it a little bit. Since we're talking about Steph, we have to talk about Phoenix right now. We got to talk about Phoenix because they're right up there, 17-3. And I did see some conversations in the chat about CP3 or Steph Curry. Who you taking? Who's better?
Taking Steph Curry
give me
10
Steph.
out of 10 times. 10 out of 10
Hell
times
yeah.
I'm taking Steph Curry.
Hell yeah.
Okay, Chris Paul, he's a great floor general, but I think he gets way too much credit for the success of his teams. I think that it's a little overstated, his ability to lead his teammates. I think it's a little overstated, his impact on the game in terms of his balance. Off the top of my head, I'm not really sure what his player efficiency numbers are or what his plus minus is, but I just feel like, he's had a great career and he's still kind of riding the career he had with the Clippers and when he was first in New Orleans and just his assist numbers. He's still kind of riding that wave a little bit. And I don't want to say that he's not good. It's just that when you look at Steph Curry's impact on the game, how he makes his other teams better. How he makes his other teammates better. Just his ability to be unguardable. We were just saying how you, in a certain sense, you can't even really guard Steph. So Chris Paul has a very basketball-centric game where he's relying on his skill, relying on his ability to see the floor, put guys in the right position to score, throw lobs to DeAndre Ayton, things like that. Throw passes to Devin Booker when he's open for his threes, his spot-up threes. So he's a good floor general, whereas Steph Curry is just an amazing athlete, shooter, unguardable, and I want that guy on my team. I could get a bunch of basketball playing high IQ guys, but you may not be able to get a guy who could shoot threes consistently from the logo. So I want the guy who's gonna, wow me. I don't want necessarily the guy who may turn the ball over at the worst possible time and he want to get that 18-foot jump shot off. Like, I'm not necessarily interested in that. So give me Steph Curry all day.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too, man. Because Chris Paul gets in his feelings way too much for me. He gets in his feelings way too much. He's a team killer to me. I don't like the way he quit it when he played for the Pelicans or I don't know the Hornets at the time when they was in New Orleans. I didn't like the way he did with the Clippers and he quit it there. I'm just not a big fan of Chris Paul. I respect him for being a small guard and doing his thing in the league, but man, he's just a team killer to me. He's one of those guys I could never see leading a team to a championship.
Agreed. And I think just from an X's and O's standpoint, Steph has gotten to the point, like I said, where there's no defense you're going to draw up on a coach's board to stop him at this point. There's nothing. I can draw up something to stop Chris Paul. I ain't drawing up nothing to stop Steph Curry right now. Nothing. Like I said, there's nothing you could do. You can't play him physical because that don't seem to bother him. You can't give him room. You can shoot your lights out. You go up on him, he'll go past you. You know what I'm saying? And if you get to the point where you force him to drive and try to finish, now he's a better finisher than he was at the earlier part of his career now. So I mean, I like Chris Paul. Like you said, he's great floor general, but he doesn't have that extra dimension where he's going to carry anybody anywhere to a championship. Not at all.
Plus, if you look at their numbers, Chris Paul has been in the league like 17 years or something like that. They almost have the exact same amount of numbers, with the exception of their all defensive team. They got the same amount of all NBA first team. They got the Chris Paul has no scoring titles. He's got very little, in terms of his playoff wins. And so already Steph Curry is nearly neck and neck with Chris Paul. And Chris Paul has almost, 8-9 more seasons on Steph. So to me, that just goes to show you that what Steph Curry has done. That's not to necessarily take anything away from Chris Paul. It's really to highlight all the things that Steph Curry has accomplished. Outside of him just making threes, his showing you how consistent he is through their ups and downs. I mean, he nearly had an MVP season last year when the Warriors weren't really even all that good. So, and I agree with you, Hank. Chris Paul is in his feelings. I remember when he was in Houston, I never felt like him and James Harden really had a good rapport going. And so when you put him with other stars and it's not cohesive, and Chris Paul is supposed to be the guy, I feel like when you ask a bunch of coaches and analysts, they all tout, Chris Paul's leadership, but you really don't hear that from players. I think when Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul used to get into it, Rajon Rondo said, around the league, you don't really hear Chris Paul being a good teammate. You hear him being like a, like you were saying, Hank, like a locker room cancer almost. So, yeah, I just think that he gets the benefit of being, under the umbrella of LeBron. He's one of LeBron's, the banana boat crew guys. So he gets the same benefit of the doubt that Carmelo gets, that Chris Bosh got. It's just that with Chris Paul, I feel like, it's kind of a place of negativity from him where, anything could happen and his spirit can go left and he could be, such a detriment to the team, like you were saying, Hank.
What's going on, brother Anton? You there?
Yeah, I just had to tune in. I'm sorry. Y'all are so off when it comes to Chris Paul. I just had to step away from the service for a minute.
Come on, man.
God forgive me. But I'm going to say this, bro. Real talk. Y'all acting like Chris Paul didn't just take a Phoenix team that wasn't even close to making the playoffs and took them to the finals. Y'all acting like this is not the reason why the whole league vetoed him going to the Lakers. Y'all also acting like Steph Curry. Now, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't take Steph Curry over Chris Paul, right? Like, I'm taking Steph Curry. I think he's one of the greatest point guards to ever play in this league. But as far as the disrespect for Chris Paul and not really acknowledging how great this guy is, listen, without him in in Houston, listen, if it wasn't for Chris Paul getting injured in Houston, they very much could have went to the finals and won a championship.
That's true.
This guy is better, and y'all don't understand how great it is to be a floor general. Listen, Steph Curry is a shooting guard. If we just want to be honest, Steph Curry is a shooting guard. They have a great system, and they have phenomenal players to open up the floor for him. When you got Klay Thompson, and then you had the luxury of having Kevin Durant, and then you had Draymond Green is really the point guard of that team. He the one that direct traffic. He the one that says where to go and so on and so forth. When you got great pieces around you, it's a completely different conversation. But when you literally have a team and you take them from not even remotely, listen, they had Devin Booker, they had the same DeAndre Ayton, they had the same shooters, and this team could not make the playoffs to save their life. The only thing that's different about that team is Chris Paul. That's it. That is it. And they literally made the finals, bro. That is a big deal. Like, you cannot ignore how good this guy really is. I mean, we don't really even know how, without Chris Paul on the floor, James Harden completely melted over in Houston. Completely melted, disappeared. Nobody. First of all, he was all awesome, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared.
But Anton, you're right. Chris Paul helped them get to the finals, but Chris Paul also cost them in that finals too.
You said he also what?
cost them in that finals.
I don't believe so. You can't say a team cost somebody
Holiday was killing.
7-game
You
series.
telling me Devin Booker didn't cost that finals?
The best team won. It's not that somebody cost anybody. I don't think that they were beating.
Finals?
They did. They were not beating.
Are you saying because he didn't hit shots? I mean, because he was missing a few shots, but he had
They
to
were
hit
not
He was
shots.
supposed to be Devin Booker, and like through the rest of the playoffs, everybody was on him. And then when it came to the finals, he got locked up. I was like, "Where's Devin Booker? Where's the 30, 28? Where's any of them?"
And hold on. Let's really compartmentalize it because
Middleton's a good defender now.
I'm not saying
hold
he
on.
is.
Let's compartmentalize it, y'all. Because y'all acting like Curry is more than what he was, but I just heard just a couple years ago people was talking about how Curry melted and he didn't show up in the playoffs. I just remember a couple years ago when you had everybody injured, Curry wasn't carrying nobody to the playoffs, right? Like a lot of people said that Steph Curry melted in the finals in certain situations and all of that. So, I mean, come on, y'all. If we're going to be honest about who these people really are, we're going to really have to break down the dynamics of being on certain teams make a difference. Having certain coaches make a difference. Being in certain systems make a difference. But I don't know any team that Chris Paul has ever been on that you can't say that they was competing. And when he leave, they go down the drain. They just got beat by the best team. That's just facts. They got beat by a team that was rolling. They hit their stride at the right time. They had a monster in Giannis. He got the right attitude. You got Chris Middleton out there. They got great role players and bench players. They just got beat by the better team. But if you saying that Chris Paul, like, come on, man. Honestly, I think it's a lot closer than y'all making it out to be. Chris Paul is much closer to being a greater point guard than Steph Curry than y'all think he is.
So when Chris Paul couldn't get past the second round of the playoffs, you know, whose fault was that when he was with the Clippers and he couldn't guide that team anywhere?
That team
It was
had
his.
no chemistry.
I'm not taking anything away from his failures. I'm just saying that y'all overlooking the failures that Steph Curry had also, and you're not giving him enough credit for his successes. That's what I'm saying.
Give me Steph.
Give me Steph too. I'm taking him too.
And you know,
I'm just saying it's a lot closer than y'all think it is.
I mean, with Phoenix though, just as a team, I think that Devin Booker and them, they deserve some credit. You know what I mean? DeAndre Ayton deserves credit. Monty Williams as a coach, he deserves credit. I don't think that, Phoenix was the Chicago Bulls before Chris Paul got there. You know what I mean?
But they was definitely a
point
point guard away from a championship caliber team. A good point guard.
And I'll give you that. Chris Paul is great. I don't want to necessarily take that away. He absolutely helped the Suns, raise their pace. So, he's kicking it on fast break. He got Devin Booker kind of adjusting his game to adjust it to the faster pace. So I don't necessarily want to take that away. All I'm saying is Chris Paul, again, with the trope of your best player can't be your point guard. Chris Paul is a great player, but he has a lot of control over the game to where he can too easily ruin it for you. And so I think
no.
He can ruin it for you if he's
You
not
off
there.
on that
That's
one,
what
buddy
ruins
boy.
for each team he plays on. If he's not there, their team sucks. That's what I've seen. If he doesn't show up in Houston, they lose. He didn't show up. Every time he didn't play for the Suns, he had to play against the Lakers hurt because if he wasn't there, they were losing to the Lakers. Anytime, that's the only way Chris Paul can hurt his team is if he doesn't play. If he gets hurt, which he has, and that's kind of messed him up in the playoffs, but that's the only fault to Chris Paul is he gets hurt. On the Clippers, Blake and him was trying to figure out who was the boss and who was going to take over the team. Doc, he wasn't going to say, "Oh, Chris, you the boss. Oh, Blake, you the boss." He said, "Well, both y'all the boss. Y'all go figure it out." And then, I mean, I don't know. That team could have definitely achieved everything. But
are we talking about the same Chris Paul that try to go into somebody else's locker room and get into an altercation? We talking about that Chris Paul?
I like that.
That's
I like
that.
Here.
That's
what I like. I like
that.
I like
that, bro.
I got a question. Hold on, gentlemen. Get your brother's
I got a legit question for y'all. If Chris Paul joined the Lakers back in 2009, will we talk about Chris Paul in the same light we talk about?
We got a whole Brothers Sportscast. I'm gonna say this, and then I got to get back to church because readers and looking at me a little different.
Get on back to church, you heathen.
Listen,
bro, it's offering time.
The blessing, and the difference a lot of times is injuries and circumstances. Now, I'm not going to use that to remove it because injuries happen to everybody. It just is what it is. You deal with your circumstances accordingly. However, If Chris Paul is on the Lakers, we having a different conversation. A. B. If Chris Paul don't get injured throughout his career, we having a different conversation. It's a lot closer than y'all think it is. I'm telling you.
Man, I
Well,
don't
I
know.
feel like injuries is a part of every game because every single year anybody has
I'm
ever won a
holla at y'all.
championship,
Great
there was
show.
major injuries to
All
every
right,
player.
Anton, I appreciate you.
All right, bro.
All right, boss man. So I completely understand where y'all coming from, but at the same time, every single championship at the NBA, even when Isaiah Thomas won it in 1999? I mean, my bad, 1989. He had a bum right ankle. So injuries happen every day on the floor. And if you're talking about the
Also,
best and elite point guard, it's Chris Paul. It's not Steph Curry.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
definitely Chris Paul.
the thing with
Steph is
injuries
like an
are,
AI but can shoot. He was undersized too. He was mainly scoring. He wasn't
yeah,
dropping like a bunch of assists, and he's literally running off the screens all game. That's
yeah.
it.
Man, you talk
man,
about
that
Chris Paul was
2009
a
team.
dirty player. Chris Paul was a dirty player, man. Y'all, I think y'all fail to realize that he was a
I think
dirty
they all
player.
dirty on some level, bro. I think they all dirty
Yeah,
on some level.
yeah, but Chris Paul was actually with it. When that man supposed now,
Angels
this
out
is what
there.
Rondo said. Rondo said he spit in the man's face. I don't know how true it is, but that's disgusting.
I
You
heard
gotta
that
kill
AI
that
used
man.
to show up
I would
games
have killed
stinky
him.
because he didn't want people close to him. He used to show up the game stinky, sweaty because he didn't want people. You want to talk about dirty? That's actually dirty. So
I ain't
Chris
got a
Paul.
problem with that.
AI used to show up the game stinky and sweaty because people didn't, so you can get people close to him. That was one
I
of
ain't
his
got a
strategies.
problem with that. But when you gonna sit there and spit in a man's face, no, dude, that's disrespectful.
I mean, that is
That's
disrespectful. I'm not
totally
gonna knock that.
disrespectful.
I mean,
No, hell no.
if Chris Paul gets on that 2009 Lakers team,
So,
that Lakers team is unstoppable. Not because they have Chris Paul, but because that Lakers team had a young Trevor Ariza. It had a still young Kobe Bryant. It had a still dominant Andrew Bynum. They had a still dominant Pau Gasol. So you
Wait, hold on.
figure,
When was
and they
Andrew
had
Bynum dominant though?
Oh, and you know what the craziest thing is? You know why that trade didn't go through? Hold on, hold on. You want
Andrew
to know why
Bynum was
that trade didn't go
solid
through?
center
It wasn't because of the players
No, y'all
per
one at a
se.
time, one at a time, so they
Hold
can
on.
hear us.
Go ahead,
That
go ahead.
trade didn't go through because even after all that, they had so much cap room. They had like $40 million in cap room. They said we can't have all these players on the same team, and it's still they can have all this money left and get all these other players. So they said, nah. They just had too much money left over. That was
the reason why they
I
vetoed,
think Gilbert Arenas
no,
said
the
that
reason
on
why
one of
they
his
vetoed the
podcasts.
trade, bro, the reason why they vetoed the trade in 2009 is because the NBA owned the Pelicans at the time, and the Hornets, and they knew if they gave up Chris Paul and they was trying to sell the Hornets at the time, it would be nothing to sell it with. So even regardless, if you sell a franchise, you still need a tag with it. So that's why they kept Chris Paul a part of the Hornets for 3 years, and they sold the Hornets in 2011 or 10, I think, and Chris Paul left after that. So it was about keeping Chris Paul there as capital. And as soon as they got Anthony Davis, they dropped him. They was the first round pick the next year if they left Chris Paul. It was about draft capital because the Hornets were trying to sell it. I mean, they were trying to sell the team.
Sounds like facts.
The commissioner can't stop a trade because a team is trying to sell it. He stopped it because the Lakers had too much
Yes, he
cap
can.
room.
The commissioner can veto any trade.
But he's not going to veto it because that team is trying to sell that team because of a player's there. And they didn't stop a
Yes,
trade.
he
They
is.
looked at the
The
Lakers.
Pelicans was.
You can look it up.
The Hornets was owned by the NBA.
All right.
I
So
mean,
the Hornets wasn't owned
he's
by
right.
owner.
The
Nobody
NBA,
owned it.
no, the
It
NBA
was
owned. The NBA owned it.
No,
So nobody
Yeah,
owned the
yeah.
Bobcats.
yeah, because it was
The
an
NBA
expansion
did
team.
own it at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, they
It
did
was an
own it.
expansion
I mean,
team at the
that's
time, and
true.
nobody owned it yet.
And you got to make it appealing, and it's not appealing.
So
You
that's
got
why
New
they
Orleans
a
vetoed the
people
Hornets.
of
Nobody
bums.
owned the New Orleans Hornets.
The NBA owned it.
Oh, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I heard from
And-
Gilbert
and-
Arenas said that the LA had too much cap room, and if they got all those players together, they could have got a lot more players and a lot more role players. They just had too much money on their side, so they said no. That team would have been too dominant if they had all that money left over. They could have
Jim
signed a lot
Buss
more
was the
players.
second richest owner in NBA history. He could pay the luxury tax to win 3 more rings. So you think the third richest man in the country wouldn't pay a $5 million luxury tax to win 3 more rings that would have generated at least $100 to $200 million from 3 years?
What does that have to do
That's
with
what
the
the
commissioner
Warriors did
declining
because
the
the
trade?
Warriors understood. Fuck that luxury tax.
What does that have
Well,
to
I
do
think-
with the commissioner declining the trade?
I think what happened was the league
I think it's
is
David
pretty much
Stern.
acting
Hold on.
owner.
Hold on,
They're acting
Cal.
owner of the
Cal.
team at the time.
Cal.
Yeah. So I think the issue was that he was acting owner at the time.
I think we got to get you
100% correct.
because he has like a little delay because he's talking on Bluetooth, so it's gonna come in a little
So
bit
the
later.
commissioner owned the team, and he was trying to sell it, and he wasn't trying to. Well, he technically owned it because he ran the NBA, and he wasn't trying to. He was trying to keep the market price up so he can sell it to a new market.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of details.
We'll get final thoughts on this, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons. I'm sure there's not just one reason.
I've only heard
that,
one.
You know, they would say that the GM wasn't really allowed to make that trade to begin with. I agree that probably from a business standpoint, I mean, you're the commissioner, so the well-being of the Lakers is not necessarily more important than a franchise being successful. So it makes sense that, you know, you got to keep Chris Paul on the team just as a negotiating chip. You can't, you know, imagine if you're an NBA franchise like, let's say, Orlando, and they got no people that, you know, and that owner's looking to sell. They have no one to really sell, or, you know, you have no leverage in that. And so I'm not saying that that's the only reason, or that they didn't want the Lakers to be good and they didn't want Kobe to have that guy. You know, that's one reason. I'm sure it's all these reasons that, you know, they just kept that trade from happening. I don't think the trade happened and then it got canceled. I think that David Stern just did not go for that trade. He just said, no, we're not going to do that. So I don't think it happened. Chris Paul had a backpack and he was on the plane, and all of a sudden David Stern came and said, no, actually, we're not doing that. It was a trade that was offered and they just rejected it. It's how that went.
Okay. I want to switch it real quick before we get to football. Lastly, I want to talk about Dame Dollar. Dame Dollar. Let's see where they're sitting there right now. Blazers are 10-10. Do you think Dame should leave?
Please leave. Please go somewhere where you can, while you're still young, while you're still productive, man. Like, I understand that whole, you know, wanting to be one place your whole life and wanting to be loyal, but man, they ain't loyal to you. You turn that knee tomorrow, you go down on that ACL tomorrow, bro. They're gonna be talking buyout. You know what I'm saying? Like, he needs to go somewhere where I hate to say it because I'm a Bulls fan, but God, would he be perfect for the Knicks, man? He'd be
Go ahead, Avi. I'm sorry.
No, it's on you.
Okay. Hey, I look at it like this, man. Like he needs to get out of it. He probably should have been gone 2 years ago. I really wish he didn't sign an extension on that contract, man, and just made his move in. But I would love to see him somewhere else because he truly deserves to play with a contender, a real contender, not just a team that's just gonna make the playoffs. Hey, I'm just glad to be here type thing, but a team that's gonna make a serious run in the playoffs. Hey, put Chris Paul off Phoenix and put him there. I could imagine what type of squad that could be, man. Imagine that. Hey, I would put the trade out there right now. Put it out there.
I was thinking him to Miami, but Phoenix looks good too.
Miami or Brooklyn, trade Kyrie. Yeah, get him out of there.
That's not too
That
bad.
actually makes a lot of sense, man. That really does. Portland gets an asset that is worth something, and you get to keep selling tickets, and the other side is obvious, man. So that's actually
but the only thing about the Kyrie thing, man, is he really gonna be a man of his word? Said he gonna retire if they trade him. So that's the only caveat on that situation. I call his bluff. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Call his bluff. See what happens.
To retire because he thought everybody needed him, and then he was like, "Oh man, I need to do whatever I can to get back on the straight and narrow," because he knew he couldn't deal without football for too long.
Well,
he got bills to pay.
But Antonio Brown's foolish.
He's foolish, but I'm saying Kyrie might feel the same way. He's like, "Man, I love basketball. I got stuff going on."
Kyrie's a smart, intelligent guy. He doesn't use common sense. I think that's his problem, lack of common sense.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Bulls. I can't leave without talking about the Bulls. And I know y'all talked about the game last night. So let's take a look at it right here. The score was 107-104. We looking at the stat sheet right here for the Heat. Take a look at it real quick, and then we got the Bulls right here. Again, the score was 107-104. The Bulls did fall to the Miami Heat at the Bulls Stadium. What's going on? Because I feel like we had maybe like 2 games or so. I still think it's coaching. I still think it's coaching because the coach is responsible on how he gets the players ready and how they performing. Like you can't just try to win the game like one way. I'm surprised I wasn't seeing a little bit more of what's the guy who went to Illinois?
Io.
Yeah,
Morgan
yeah,
Park's finest, baby.
yeah,
Playing
yeah.
game.
You know, yeah. I mean, he's been hitting threes. He's been doing, and I get it. Kobe White came back, but Kobe White was making a lot of mistakes last night. I won't say a lot, but I did see about 2 or 3 of them that was just silly. You know, his shot collection, his shot selection and whatnot. But I just felt as though I don't know, man. It's one of those. It's
I
like
think it's
what's
structural.
going on?
It's
Man, I'm
roster.
ready to trade. Hey, I'm ready to trade Kobe White for an assistant coach or something, man. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him. But I don't know, man. I just think we need an alpha dog, man. We haven't had one since Derrick Rose. Man, I wish we had one. Damian Lillard, come on down, man.
You
God
got too
Well, the
damn.
many pieces
Bulls.
to have an alpha dog. You got
I
Zach
mean,
LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Honestly, Zach LaVine and Lonzo were missing shots. That's the only reason they lost last night. They were like
Yeah, but they not alpha
11
dogs
from
though,
three.
man.
No, but I'm saying you have too many of these. Not like they're kind of trying
Role
to think.
players.
They're more like the Pistons back in the day when they had like Chauncey Billups in them. It's none of them was like
Yeah. Yeah.
LeBron or Giannis or KD, but it was nice. You know what I mean? Like Chauncey Billups and DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine.
Shit, Rip Hamilton was that dude though,
I'm
man.
just
Rip
saying that's
Hamilton was that
DeMar
dude.
DeRozan
Rip
hitting them
Hamilton was
minis.
that dude.
He's more
Ben
athletic than
Wallace
Rip
was
Hamilton.
Defensive Player
I'm
of the
saying
Year.
if they hit their shots, they
And
win.
then Forza.
If they need a bigger center than Vucevic and they come off the bench, and then they'll just be good with that. Probably a power forward maybe, but they don't need more guards and small forwards. They're good on that.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. You know, White was pretty decent when he came back. I was like the energy he brought. I think he does help the bench. I just think that he's not being used correctly, and so that's why I bring it back on the coach. I feel like there's a way that you can use the guys that you have, at least like for that second unit. I think they got a nice second unit, but I had this argument with my guy. I still feel as though Zach LaVine, and I get it, he's a shooter. He's gonna keep shooting his way out, but sometimes that can hurt us. That can hurt us. You know, it was a few shots last night. I seen him throw up. I'm like, dude, come on, you forcing it. You're right in your face. When he hit it, it's like okay, but when he missing, I mean, to me, like I don't know, because you don't want to take that away from him because he's an assassin, right? And if he doesn't do it, then the Bulls might have lost a lot of games. But I still feel like he has to be a little bit more conscious on his shot selection. If they right in your face and somebody is open, you gotta do something better than that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Plus, the
I'm
game.
sorry, go ahead.
Plus, with the game from
Go ahead.
last night, the Bulls had 22 turnovers. LaVine only had like 16 points. The Miami Heat had a dude, I forget his name now, Gabe something or other. He had like 15, 16 points in the fourth quarter alone. So, he went off in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of things. The Bulls coming off like a back-to-back.
Right. So if
It's
he's
like
on
their third game.
right, so they should have had the ball at his hands. They should have had the ball at his hands. He was lighting their ass up from everywhere.
Yo, did
That's
you?
the coach. That's
You
the
know
coach
what I
fault.
saw last night, bro? Do you remember last year? I don't know if it was last year. No, it was last year. The Clippers in the playoffs when they just needed Paul George and Kawhi to just hit a couple of shots down the stretch. That's what they looked like last night, man. You got 2 wing guys just jacking up shots. My turn, your turn. They've got to break that. They need another big, but they need a point guard, a veteran point guard that can come off the bench and settle them down when they just slipped into the hero ball mode, man. They need somebody who can just come off the bench and say, look, I'm running the show. We're gonna run this pick and roll. You over here on the wing, you over here down in the 3-corner. This is how we just gonna run our stuff. The problem is when they get all out of whack, they think they can shoot. Both of them, DeRozan and LaVine, think they just gonna shoot out of it. And we saw that last year. Kawhi and Paul George did that last year in the playoffs. We just gonna keep shooting. Shooters gonna keep shooting. No, you needed a point guard to say, go stand over there, catch and shoot. Let's run our stuff. They need somebody in there who can say, and that's that. Maybe that's that alpha that you're looking for. Maybe a point guard that can come off the bench and say, look, man, run our stuff, calm down, get back to the basics. They don't have nobody on the roster that can do that right
now. Yeah.
I think that they need to have like back to JR said, last point on this, where we going. JR, the coaching, the turnovers was bad, and then the defensive matchup, they kept allowing some guy to go crazy in the fourth. But then also, I don't really watch the Bulls, so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but they should really figure out a way to not have Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan necessarily on the court unless the first and fourth quarter. The first quarter, I say leave Zach on the most and then take DeMar off, have him try to run the second quarter, have Zach try to run the third, and then by the fourth, they both in a flow, have them back in the fourth quarter to close the game out. But don't have them in the same time for most of the time because they need the ball. They need to score. Like they need to be hot. They need to just keep getting reps up. They don't need to keep going 1-2 back to each other. They need to get the ball multiple possessions.
And they got to move the ball around too. And then something else too, I'm gonna point out is that the Heat started running the zone, and I think I may have seen the ball go to the middle.
It was a 2-3. I'm sorry, it was a 2-3. It was a 3-2, I think.
And they were shooting a lot of jump shots.
Right.
They settled for so many jump shots that they were missing.
Like the coach has to pick up on that and say, "Hey, let's put the ball in the middle, draw people in, and then move the ball around." It's like they did exactly what the Heat wanted them to do.
I heard what my man Stu in the morning was saying, but thing about it, them both guys both have to get started early. They not one of those guys. I come in the second quarter and start doing my thing. They got to get started early. They're not the type that's gonna
sub one out
be able to
first.
do that.
Sub Lamar out first. Let Zach keep going to a little bit more, till I think 2 minutes left in the first, or maybe to the end of the first, and then sub DeMar in to start the second, and then have Zach, be on the bench for the first 4 to 5 minutes, get it work, and go from there. But don't have them in at all times, alternate them in and out until you get to the fourth, and they're both warm and hot. They both had their shots, and then they can close the game out instead of them just forcing the shots back and forth. Because what the times that I have seen them win is when DeMar will go on a run, he'll just be going crazy in the mid. And then the times, or if Zach, he'll go on a run. It's never just back and forth. It's they go on a run and then they go back to team ball. Then it's not they just keep.
Yeah, I think they.
Plus, when it comes to the coaching, I think that they got to do something to get Vucevic going. He had 13 points. He got a technical foul. He's really not been, everybody's talking about, they got 3 All-Stars. Vucevic supposed to be one of them All-Stars. He's pacing to have one of his worst years right now. I mean, I know they only 20 games into the season, but he don't look good at all. I don't see All-Star caliber play from him at all. I think this is his worst year for field goal percentage, worst year for 3-point shooting. I think everybody keeps saying, man, they need another big man. Well, Vucevic was supposed to be that guy. And so
I think if they run the offense through him more, that's the only thing about it. I don't think they run the offense through him more.
Well, they were doubling him last night. They were doubling every time they threw him the ball. He was getting doubled down in the block, and so it was kind of throwing a lot of guys at him. And so in Vucevic's defense, it wasn't like he was just not getting opportunities or they're not giving him the ball. It's just that they were collapsing on him a little bit, and it just hasn't really been translating because again, when you kick the ball out to Zach or to DeRozan, they just shoot the 3 or whatever. So, they're trying to shoot their way out of their own little woes. So when you combine all of that, plus with the turnovers, you know what I mean? It's just a recipe for disaster when it comes to the Bulls. So I think back to y'all point in regards to coaching, that all kind of falls on Billy Donovan. He's got to find a way to have them penetrating that 2-3 zone better. He's got to find a way to scheme to give Vucevic some better looks and then know what to do when he's getting collapsed on. And so, that all comes down to the details. I think the Bulls will get it together too. I don't think, they've shown some success. They have a recipe for success. I just think that they need to be more consistent with those details and really ironing that stuff out.
Vucevic is not in a Jokic position. He is in a Brook Lopez position where he was nice on his own team. Then he goes to a team where they got better players, and he's just not that important. He's important, but he's not that important. Brook was dirty on Brooklyn. He was dropping 20-something a game. He was averaging a double-double. Then he went to the Bucks. I mean, he's still getting buckets and doing what he do, but he's not the super or the all-star that he was. He's not going to go like the Nets where he's the big man Jokic. He's not the fastest, but he can drop dimes, get boards, and put up 40 points if he wants to. That's not what they're going to do with him. They already have Zach, Lonzo, DeMar, all these other guards that you're trying to facilitate. I mean, he might drop 15, 17 a game, but not 20. He won't do that no more.
Yeah. Just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef Sports on the Lapeef Network. Shout out to our sponsor, Tej Hanley, which they do have uncomplicated skincare for men. I do have it posted in the description, so make sure you guys go ahead. It's a nice gift for your husband, father, son, whoever, cousin. Just go ahead and check them out, man. It's nice. I do use it daily. I know Anton just picked up some too as well, and he's raving about it. And Hank, I know you mentioned about the beard and skincare. They do have some products, not particularly for beard, but everything else around the beard. So make sure you guys check it out. Shout out to the sponsor. I talked to B Nix, and I know some of you guys know
Yes,
B
sir.
Nix. He is currently in Detroit, and he's in Detroit because his nephew plays for Michigan. So he was actually at the game. He said it was cold. He was sitting in the second row, and I'm not sure if you guys follow college football, but it was a great game. It took 10 years, 2 coaches, and 5 rushing touchdowns from Haskins. But Michigan finally got over the hump to beat number 2, Ohio State, on Saturday. Did I read that correctly? Hump and beat the number 2. I don't know if I read that correctly, but whatever. But yeah, so Michigan won. I think I read the wrong stat. Did I? I don't
No,
know.
that sounds right to me, brother.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So here it is right here. 27-42. Michigan beat Ohio State. Yeah, I did read it correctly. I don't follow too much of college football, but I just did see this in the headlines, and I also seen Nick's there. It was important. They had a little scuffle too in the tunnel, which was crazy. From what I've heard, nobody was hit. There was a lot of finger. There was a whole lot of finger pointing and
A lot of barking.
yeah, a lot of barking. It was a big deal. Let's talk about this real quickly, man. What do you guys think about that game?
Jim Harbaugh done saved his job. That's what happened. Okay, because I don't think the Wolverines have beat Ohio State since Jim was the coach. So and he's been the coach, I want to say, since like 2012 or something like that. Something, so it's been a while. And so big win for Michigan. I'm an Illini alum, so I don't care for either one of these teams personally, but
Really?
yeah, but Michigan, I mean, they was all over us.
That's
So
why I
I think it was a great
Illinois.
win for the program.
Hey, I watched the game, man. I loved it. I loved it. I'm not a Ohio State fan or a Michigan fan, either one of them, but I do respect them because of how good they are. So I thought it was a hell of a game, man. I thought it was a hell of a game. Michigan played their game. I was kind of concerned for a while early in the game. I think it's about the first quarter where they kind of look a little sluggish. I'm like, oh man, here we go again, just like it was last year for them. They look bad, but I thought it was a real good game. Michigan played a hell of a game. I truth be told, I want Jim Harbaugh as the Burns next coach. I'm pushing for it. So
I was just gonna dive into that, man. The most happy man right now with Michigan winning that football game right now is Jim Harbaugh, because now he can walk himself down to that AD's office and ask for that raise because he know your boy McCaskey is sitting outside that door right now. So, I'll take him. The only thing, though, look, man, here's my problem with Harbaugh. Why they originally hired him is because they had, if you remember correctly, the 90s, early 2000s, Michigan was a quarterback factory, man. You had Tom Brady. You had there's a couple other guys I can't think of at the time, but they had a lot of great quarterbacks roll through there. He was supposed to come through there, be the quarterback whisperer. He was going to get all the top quarterbacks, and they did for a minute, but they all turned out to be trash, and they still don't have a playmaking quarterback there, man. They went on the Alabama plan. We said my 5 big dudes is about to blow up your 4 dudes on that defensive line, and they grinded that game out. But he still has not developed a quality quarterback since he has been at Michigan, and I don't want him in Lake Forest if he's gonna continue that. I don't want his hands on Justin Fields, not at all, bro.
I don't know about no raise now. That man would have 1 foot out the door. Had he lost last night, he'll already be getting his pink slip. So I'm sure Jim Harbaugh is happy.
Question though, if you the University of Michigan, who the hell you about to hire? That's better. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a man he's an alma mater. He played there. He, you know what I'm saying? He recruits actually halfway pretty good. Who are you hiring? This is my problem with a lot of these, what I would call top 10 legacy programs that fire someone every 3 years. Like who's out there? Who does LSU think they're about to go get that was better than what they had? Who, you know, it's like
Coaching
They about to go to the
Hey,
NFL. They about to get a couple NFL rejects. You know what I'm saying? Jason Garrett gonna be on the sideline next year.
Harbaugh was from the
Right now.
NFL.
But it's a lot of good college jobs open right now. That's the thing about it. You got USC, you got Florida, you got LSU. That's a lot of good big name jobs is open right now. So, and I don't know if your boy Diaz's job stays down in Miami, but that job could be open here by the end of the season. Who knows? That's a lot of good jobs being opened up. And now you got to fight. You know, as Michigan, you know, historically, yeah, you're a good program, but you ain't really been relevant in some of these other teams that's got open positions right now. So you're right. It'll be a hard to try to find a guy in there. And they always talk about we want a Michigan man. Hey man, just give me whatever coach is going to win. He could be a coach at Ohio State. Don't act like it never happened before, Michigan. They hired Ohio State assistant before.
And you know, Jim Harbaugh, he was supposed to be like some kind of new age coach too. You know, he was doing the remote camps, and he was supposed to be like a recruiting pioneer. And I feel like that hasn't necessarily played itself out for Michigan either. You know, the last couple of years, all the top talent is still going to SEC. They still go to you know, all the best offensive linemen, they go to Wisconsin and Indiana. All the best, you know, defensive backs, they go to SEC. So I don't know how much headway he's really made. I mean, he pulled their current quarterback now, who's a local dude to the Chicago area, but outside of him, you know, they haven't really been making the impact within the Big Ten like they were supposed to. So that's why I say, I mean, I agree with you, Avon. He's definitely the happiest guy in Ann Arbor because I don't know about no extension. He gets to keep his job another year or two. So, you know, I'm sure there's other college programs that might be looking to bring Jim Harbaugh in just in case the Wolverines are looking to still make a move. So Jim Harbaugh is probably going to be on a lot of lists for the coach in some other places. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. And I think he took a pay cut. They were about to get rid of him last year, but Jim took a pay cut to stay. So I think that he's going to be able to stay. This will help recruiting because, of course, they beat Ohio State. He can kind of build off of this. But by no means is he in a position, you know, to really have leverage. If anything, you know, he was able to save his job. I'm surprised he didn't start crying like Matt Nagy was crying on Thursday. So, you know, I think that, you know, Michigan, this is a great win for them. It's going to springboard their popularity within their fan base too. So, you know, I think the arrow's pointing up, but Jim Harbaugh was one loss away from, you know, him and Matt Nagy talking about what did we do wrong this year? So, you know.
All right. Well, go ahead, Hank. Final thought.
What I was going to say, man, I was just going to give shout out to Juwan Howard, man, for him going down there and being at that game and showing support and love, man. I love that. I love that. If, you know, two guys that went to the same program showing school pride to each other, showing respect to each other, man. That's a beautiful thing to me, brother. I promise you that. That man showing you love. And I hope, you know, Jim Harbaugh does the same for him. Because all that helps. That helps the program. Helps the program big time.
I think somebody said in the chat that Ohio State was full of freshmen and sophomores. So maybe that has something to do with it.
I mean, they dumping off 13 dudes to the league every year.
I mean, their defense.
You gonna be young.
I mean, their
bro.
defense was their Achilles heel yesterday. Like we saw when they played the Oregon Ducks. Oregon ran all over Ohio State. So, and that's kind of the same recipe that they lost by yesterday. You know, their running game their defense could not get off the field. Key third downs, they just could not do it. And then they had like a interception here and there. So we could kind of chalk that up to some inexperience, you know, but Ohio State, they can't win every year. They done won 15 of the last 16 matchups against the Wolverines. You know, Michigan has to win one or two more games to call it a rivalry. So, you know, we can't expect Ohio State to come out every single year and dominate. You know, they're allowed to have one or two games where they don't do well just to keep everything honest. So, you know, we'll let Michigan have this little win. But, you know, I think next year we'll probably see more of Ohio State going back to being dominant.
All right. want to switch right into the NFL since we're talking about football. Shout out to LT. And he wants us to discuss this. Can you please discuss Jalen Hurts? Is he the guy for Philly? Is he the guy for Philly? Let's take a look at the record real quick. You guys can go ahead and start talking. I'm gonna put the record up there right now because it's currently sitting 5-6, but I want everybody else to be able to see.
I think
I don't know if he's go ahead, Abe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think if you have to ask, you have your answer, bro. You know what I mean? Like you don't giving him what? You giving him almost now full season to tick, man. And he ain't horrible, but he ain't special either. You know what I mean? Then again, they might be using him wrong. So I mean, but it's Philly, man. Y'all sling the ball around the field. So I don't know, man. He might not be the right fit for that offense.
Why can't we just say Philly sucks? Why I got to be the quarterback? That's my thing. Why can't a team just be bad? It's always the quarterback. Like, they only won because they had a good defense. Their offense wasn't like that. They had a backup quarterback and still won. Why can't we just say Philly is not good? It's not his fault that they suck. They coaching suck. Coaching suck. The players suck. The whole thing sucked. So I don't know why we got to put it on one young player and we acting like he going to come in and be the savior. He's not the savior of y'all team. Y'all need a lot more than one young brother to come save that team. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, you see where they sitting there right there, right? 5-6.
Well, the thing about Philly, man, is I don't know what it's like. They're against running the football. I don't know why they just don't want to run the ball. I mean, I think Miles Sanders is a hell of a running back, and they should utilize him as such, but they don't. I don't. Jalen Hurts, nice. I don't think he's going to lead your team to a Super Bowl. I don't think he's that type of quarterback, in my opinion. I just don't think he is. But I said he's a good player. He's not going to lead your team to a Super Bowl.
Philadelphia is going to be trying to get them a better quarterback at the end of this season. They're going to be making a run for somebody, whether it's Russell Wilson or whether it's Deshaun Watson. They're going to try to get somebody. Not to say that Jalen Hurts isn't good, but they could get some better options out there with free agency. When we talk about running the ball, they probably think Jalen Hurts is the guy that's going to be running the ball for them, on some of these bootleg plays and broken plays. They feel like, okay, well, if the play breaks down, they'll be able to just have Jalen Hurts run. The same thing that the Bears are doing kind of with Justin Fields. They're confident that when the play breaks down, Justin Fields should just run it, and that's going to be their makeshift running game almost. So I think that Jalen Hurts is a good guy for now, and he could make a case for the quarterback of the future if he's still able to, remain healthy and whatnot. But I don't know if he's going to be chosen over some other guys if Philadelphia can get some other quarterbacks in. I think that, he may not necessarily be their first option.
There hasn't been one quarterback to run an offense with nothing, absolutely nothing other than Tom Brady. So why do we keep asking all these quarterbacks to be Tom Brady when no one has ever ran an offense with no weapons other than Tom Brady? Like, why don't you get these offensive weapons and then you can get some average quarterback like Tannehill or what's Nick Foles, and you can win a chip. You don't need Tom Brady all the time. Get a good team and have a decent quarterback, and you'll be straight. But everybody wants Tom Brady. You're not going to get Tom. Sorry.
Yeah, but this guy's nowhere close to Tom Brady. I don't know what you're looking for.
Nobody is. Aaron Rodgers is not close. Drew Brees has never been close. They've all had weapons, at least one. Tom is the only dude I know that never had.
You don't have to be that, but you have to look at how many Super Bowls won by running quarterback? Not many. You maybe have three, maybe. Three, maybe.
I mean, if you take away Steve Young, I don't think you got any.
I think that's going to change as you go forward anyway.
If you take away Steve Young, you might consider Russell Wilson, maybe.
All right, let me get to
maybe Doug Williams.
What's going on, brother? Welcome to the show. What you got for us?
Hi, guys. Thank you for welcoming me to your show. We appreciate it.
I don't know if you're using the Bluetooth or something. You're coming in kind of choppy.
The reason for that probably is because of my internet connection. And also, right now I'm in Africa, so our internet isn't as good as yours. But hopefully you'll be able to hear me speak.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. We're going to try to see if we can get it through it. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just listening to your talk and part of the reason why I'm logged on to your show was I was checking the performance of a rugby team. Rugby is a sport that's very similar to football, and man, you guys are improving so much. In fact, you guys actually played in the final between South Africa. So shout out to you guys.
You say rugby?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm also seeing, in terms of football, the USA is ranked another team. So, man, whatever you guys are doing the USA, man, it's definitely working because everything in terms of sport, everything that you guys do is improving tenfold. So, shout out to you guys.
We got too much time on our hands, so all we do is focus on making super athletes.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? My one of my closest friends lived in Abu Dhabi for 6 years. His son is a world-class rugby player, man. Kid didn't want nothing. And he got back to America. He didn't want nothing to do with football. He was like, if I can't play rugby, I ain't playing nothing, man. I find that so interesting, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to you guys, man. Wow. I actually watched the highlights. You guys are so jacked, and you guys improve in a couple of years. How do you guys do that? What do you guys do in America?
It's the food.
Yeah, it's definitely the
hormones
food.
in the food. Testosterone boost or something.
Yeah. All right, Ratty. We definitely appreciate you for calling in. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
You, man. Thanks for the support.
Cheers.
Right. I would have loved to keep him on a little bit longer, but I know it's a struggling experience. I'm trying to hear it. But definitely shout out to you. Appreciate you calling in, sir. Let's keep it with football real quick. So we got a few games that's happening today. Kind of highlighted a few. The Chargers and Broncos. Who you guys got for that?
I'm gonna go with the Chargers, man. I love Justin Herbert as a quarterback. They underestimated that man in the draft. They didn't think he was gonna be what he was gonna be. He's a hell of a leader, and hey, I can see him carrying that team to the Super Bowl here in about 2 or 3 years.
I'm like him. I'd probably go with the Chargers, but if I'm going to bet, I probably bet like 25 on the Broncos just because they're the underdog, and I want to see them win, get some money.
Yeah, I'm going Chargers.
I'll definitely be a person to admit that I was asleep on Justin Herbert for sure. You know what I mean? I felt like he was just going to be another California quarterback to come in the league, not really make too much noise, be on the team low key. You know what I mean? Eventually end up as somebody's backup. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely feeling the Chargers right now. If the Chargers get comfortable,
not a backup, baby.
I mean, I think they're just undeniable. You know what I mean? I think he has like 15 touchdowns and no picks or something like that too. When he's playing some AFC teams, so I think that it's just the Chargers are kind of sneaky good. It may not even be 2-3 years, or really maybe either this year or next year if they catch the right momentum at the right time. So I'm going with the Chargers today. I really don't think that the Broncos really have anything to really compete with. I think they got a fairly decent run game, but that might be about it. So, I really got the Chargers winning, more than 2 touchdowns on this one too.
All right. What about the Rams and Packers? You guys taking on that one? Sway,
Man, I'm rooting for I'm rooting for the Rams, man, because I can't stand the Packers.
It's not that I can't stand the Packers. I just want people. I feel like I never was the biggest OBJ fan, but then if you look at when he plays and just the rap that he's gotten, I'm like, OBJ, just be good. I want you to see if you can actually be good and see if you can actually win and you could be like an Antonio Brown instead of all this hype around you. I'm a little biased, so I just want to see the Rams win. I don't have no beef against the Packers, but it's more OBJ.
I'm gonna take the Rams because they need the win. They need it real bad, man. And then like you said, I've learned not to bet against Aaron Rodgers as a Bears fan, man. But the Rams need a signature win this year where we say, okay, they beat this team, they're legit. That they need that real bad,
man. And the problem with that is they could have had it a couple weeks ago by beating Arizona when Murray was out, and they couldn't take advantage of it.
I'm not like you, Sway. I do got something against the Packers. Okay, I take it very personally. All right. First of all, I'm rooting for the Rams. You know what I mean? They kind of need a good get back game. Their defense is a great game to show that they're an elite defense that really needs to be dealt with as they go into the latter half of the season and kind of creep into the playoffs. It's like week 11 right now. So Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, all these guys, they got to step up. They got Leonard Floyd. They got Von Miller on the team now. So the defense now, it's time for them to show and prove that they are this elite defense that they are trying to be on paper. And then on the other side, Aaron Rodgers, I think someone just said in the chat, Aaron Rodgers is dealing with an injured toe. He posted it online for whatever reason. Think we
Got
want to see
jab
that.
toe.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that. But they definitely have that to deal with in terms of his injuries. And then Devontae Adams, I'm sure he's going to want to come out and show that he's an elite receiver, compared to Cooper Kupp and Odell and guys like that. But I imagine that the Rams are going to probably put Jalen Ramsey on Devontae Adams and shut him down completely today. I don't know how that's going to go, but I feel like that's what they're going to try. And so, yeah, I want to see the Packers collapse. You know what I mean? I'm a Bears fan through and through. But also, the Packers, they have a lot of success even through all their controversy. And, I feel like all of their adversity is always outside of the football. You know what I mean? So I want to see them struggle a little bit as a football team and not so much dealing with the jab or whatever else it is. I just want to see a great game, but I want to see Matthew Stafford go out there and kind of tear up the Green Bay defense. So I'm taking the Rams today to win, but that's more emotional than it is analytical.
Yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers with that damn ingrown toe there, crying and complaining and stuff.
All right, what you guys got about the Vikings and the 49ers?
That ought to be an interesting game. Battle of two trashy teams. I don't know, man. Give me the 49ers.
Vikings for sure. I don't know. 49ers, they just For the Vikings, I feel like at least they got Kirk Cousins, or is he hurt? I don't follow the Vikings.
No, he's good.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, all right. I'll take the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Vikings as well, man, because they both need this game. I think they both 500 or whatever, but for some reason, man, it seems like the Vikings are starting to take a step in a better direction than they were at the beginning of the season. And you ain't never gonna commit, and it hurts to say it too, because he's from the crib. You ain't ever gonna convince me Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback, man. He's an all right quarterback. He's a decent quarterback. He's not a good quarterback.
I'm just glad we didn't make the mistake and went after his sorry behind.
I was looking too. Look, man. I saw the tape. I saw the fundamentals. He has an extremely quick release, man. I actually think he's in the wrong offense, man. They use him wrong. He's a guy who needs to drop back one step, two step, or go out of the gun and just sling it before 3,000. You know what I'm saying? And they got him doing other things or whatever, man. He's in a bad fit there.
All right. Move this out the way. Give me 1 second. Where's that comment at? There we go. All right. The Browns and Ravens. Who y'all taking for this one?
I mean, with the Baker Mayfield, who is a trash quarterback, and he's being hurt. I don't expect it to even be a close game, man. Truth be told, first game back from Lamar being off of I don't know, IR slash COVID slash flu. I don't know what's going on with that guy, man, but I feel he's gonna tear that ass up, man. Yeah, I don't think it'll be a close game. What's the spread on that? I didn't even see what the spread was. I
Yeah,
don't even know what.
yeah, I got the Ravens. I got the Ravens myself. I think that they're gonna game plan to keep the Browns defensive line from even trying to get to Lamar. I'm sure they're gonna roll him out a lot. in addition to him taking off with it on his own, I think Baker Mayfield, that whole issue has kind of creeped into their culture in terms of them not being able to really get right. They finally got rid of Odell, but the stank is still there. So I don't really know if they really recovered from the controversy. And then on the other side, Baltimore is still looking solid. So I think that Lamar is probably going to have a real good game today. So yeah, I'm going with Baltimore.
I'm gonna stand out a little bit, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and take them Browns, man, because they had what's it, Andy Dalton? They had Andy Dalton out there looking like he was still, a viable quarterback in the NFL last week, man. That defense did not look good at all. So I'm gonna go with the Browns, man. See what happens.
I think the only way the Browns could win is if they keep Baker from throwing over 30 passes and they get that running game going. If they can get the running game going, is the only way I can see them win. You cannot expect Baker to throw 40 passes and he's going to take you to the promised land. You 25, 26, 28, hopefully he completes 20 of them, and you got a good, 150 rushing yards, then you might have a chance, and hopefully your defense show up. But I don't see them winning unless they play to a specific scheme and do well in it.
Man, Baker's got to throw 20 or less passes. Because that 21st and that 24th and that 25th pass is going to be all interceptions.
You might be right. I'm just saying, like, you can't expect him to throw the game like Dak. Like, they got Dak up here throwing 42 passes a game, and I'm like, why? You got Zeke and Pollard and like run the ball, like. But I don't know. Baker Mayfield is always complaining about his shoulder, his foot, his knee, his ankle, his whatever. So I'm like, just don't rely on him. Rely on everybody else, and you might win a game.
Yeah. All right, let me these last two games right here, the Buccaneers and Colts and the Titans and Patriots. You guys got for those two games?
Well, we know the Bucs going to
Yeah,
we know the Bucs are going to win. However, I want to address, this is a great little segue into what I was saying earlier about quarterbacks need to be Tom Brady. It's not Tom Brady. It's that offensive line. There's a stat that said Tom Brady is like the least rushed quarterback in terms of like hurries and sacks. The Bucs are number one in the fewest amount of hurries, not even sack numbers, just hurries. So that ain't got nothing to do with Tom Brady, really. Tom Brady is a statue back there. He ain't got no speed. Footwork is almost non-existent. He got a hell of a bazooka arm, but you put pressure on him and he just goes down, just like how Peyton Manning used to. So I think that it's not even necessarily a Tom Brady thing. These teams need to be trying to build their offensive lines the way the Bucs have. And
do you not understand how Tom Brady plays? He literally doesn't move. Ask Aaron Rodgers. What Tom does, he snaps and stands straight up and just looks. He doesn't move, and he's not looking to move. He's literally feeling the pressure. If he moves, he might step up, he might step back, but he literally stands up and then gets it out of his hand. That's why you don't see him get hit, because he's not moving. He's not taking 4 steps back. He literally 2 seconds, get it out. Like he's not
out. That ball is out, bro.
He's not, and he's calling adjustments, so he already knows what's going on with the line. He's like, you got that. Watch that motion on that linebacker. 2 seconds, and it's out. He's not waiting for nobody.
That's what a good quarterback does, though. That's a good quarterback right there. That's what you call good, smart quarterback decision. I mean, you have to do it, and guess what? The offensive line knows where he's going to be. We got to put a little more oomph on this blocking, buddy. He's our franchise. He's our guy. We're going to block for this dude. And also, the referees won't let you touch him anyway. We all know that.
Oh, yeah.
The referees will not let you get close to him. He'll give a referee a look, and then the referee will throw that flag.
Which cannot be counted out. I mean, that can't be counted out for sure. Tom Brady gets some of the best calls in NFL history. More playoff games than been won for the Patriots based on that phantom 3rd and 13 pass interference call than Tom Brady. So, and plus the Colts, Carson Wentz is pretty decent. I think he has a lot of games where he's thrown, more than 2 touchdowns. So I'm not going to count the Colts out completely. But, the Bucs run defense is really good. Tom Brady is amazing. I think they're almost at full strength in terms of their offensive weapons and whatnot. And again, that offensive line holding up for Tom Brady, something serious. So, when you got all those things, running at once, it really doesn't matter who they're playing. You know, I think the Bucks are gonna come out the victor in this. I don't think it'll be close either.
Hey, I hear what y'all saying. I'm not riding with the Bucks this game, man. I love Jonathan Taylor. Hell of a running back, man. I'm gonna ride with Indianapolis. I'm gonna ride with it because I like the running game. And the thing about the Bucks defense, they haven't been looking that good these past 2 weeks, man. I mean, Heineke's been killing them. He killed them. They just haven't been doing what they normally do. I don't know if it's some injuries. I don't know what's going on, but they haven't been looking good these past 2 weeks. The Bucks defense hasn't. So I'm gonna go with the Colts, despite of Wentz.
Okay. I know it probably don't make sense to talk about this, but I'm just wondering. It's over for the Bears, right? There's no hope in them making the playoffs, right?
They done.
It's done.
I mean,
it don't matter if they win every game.
We playing spoiler, JR. That's all we do. We playing spoiler.
They won't win another. Here's the thing. They might not win another game. Real talk. They might not win another game, man. And like I said, I don't know if people outside of Chicago saw what happened here this week. Boy, it's toxic here right now. In the city with these Bears, bro. It is toxic up there at that Hallis Hall, bro. Did y'all see what, man? They are fire Nagy. They're chanting that in any public venue. They was chanted at the Bulls game. They was chanted at the Hawks game. And we said before, how bad is it when your son got to go play a high school state semifinal and they got to chant fire Nagy in the crowd? That's tough.
That might be going too far. That might be going too far. But going to the Bears game and saying it, Bulls game, baseball games, I don't care. Fire his ass.
Well, get him up there. It's a damn shame that's got to take this long to get to this point. We shouldn't have to do this.
Yeah, you're right. But I got a petition going right now. You ready to sign a petition, to get that man up out of here? I'm standing around right now.
Well, I can say
back
that
from
Jimmy
our car
Garoppolo
up to his house and help him pack.
Hold on, y'all.
You all took ready.
Trying to say something.
Think about it. Tell me what quarterback takes you to the Super Bowl and then takes you to an NFC championship in his 7-year tenure. Jimmy Garoppolo, every time you play a playoff game in NFL, it's a game 7. He took you through 3 rounds of hell to the Super Bowl and lost by a touchdown because George Kittle don't know how to run an out route.
Hey man, people have good games sometimes, bro. People have good
very
games,
accurate.
But like I said, he's mismatched in the offense he's in. They're asking him to hand the ball off. They're asking him to roll out. He's not a roll-out quarterback, man. He don't have that type of athleticism. Put him back.
That's why he's in a perfect offense.
You know where he should be? He should be in Kansas City. He should be in Kansas City, man.
He should be back in New England. He's a New England quarterback. He went Hollywood, which he's not. They try to make him be like Pat Mahomes. You're not Pat Mahomes. You is a New England quarterback. That's where you grew up. You are a systematic. I need to do this, not feel and wherever some West Coast offense shit. No, he's not that, and they try to make him that, and that's why you're not winning a bunch of games. You need a system where it's very strict. That's what he is. He's what he
they had no faith. They have no faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. You can watch that game, man, and they ran the ball like 40-something times because they have no faith in that guy.
That's the way it's designed because you have multiple running backs and multiple receivers that played high school running back, including Deebo Samuel. They have the running backs. Their offense is designed to get the ball out of Jimmy G's hands in quick recession throws in 1.3 seconds or give a handoff because that offense is sustainable in the NFL. It's like running a power I, but you shifting the fullback into tight end sets, and then you can run multiple options. You can audible that into an easy pass play. It's actually easier. And motions all through the offense. It shifts the cornerbacks and linebackers, so it's a disguised offense. It's actually pretty brilliant if you study Kyle Shanahan's offense.
It's 5-5 or 5-6 right now. How is that brilliant?
Well, I look at it like this. If you
would be sitting on the sidelines right now, bro. They would
if you know this,
49 if they believed in him, bro.
Hey, Kyle Shanahan's a pass first type guy anyway. But so when he got to the 49ers, he had Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback. He said, man, the hell with passes. I'd rather just run the ball. And that was his problem when he was in Atlanta. He didn't run the ball against the New England Patriots when he should have ran the ball. And it cost him the Super Bowl because that's all he want to do, continue to pass.
Yeah, a lot of these coaches can't seem to figure that out, bro.
Well, I got a question for y'all. Who y'all think will win today? The Ravens, or the Browns? I'm gonna say this though: beware of betting on the Ravens because Kareem Hunt is back, and I forgot their cornerback is back off injury, off IR. He's placed on He's placed.
Mayfield's the quarterback, though. Baker Mayfield's your quarterback. They're not winning.
I mean, when you got two running teams like Lamar Jackson and his company, and then Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, you're in these icy conditions. You're talking about a low scoring game. And to be honest with you, the Browns might upset the Ravens today, just for the simple fact that you have two power eye running backs that can get you anything at any time. You can switch those in, and they can pop you the whole fucking day. Nick Chubb.
Yeah, but you got an idiot lead your team. That's a quarterback. No, man. He's more about making commercials, being in the Heisman house, making progressive commercials, man. You said what?
Baker is a perfect Joe Flacco. That's perfect what I'm saying. He's just a game manager.
Oh,
you don't need to be an all-star quarterback when you have two Hall of Fame running backs. Kareem Hunt.
Joe Flacco.
Baker ain't been on Nick Foles, and you saying Joe Flacco like
look here, don't sleep on Joe Flacco. Playoff Joe Flacco's won the Super Bowl, dog.
I'm saying Baker Mayfield is worse than Joe Flacco and Nick Foles. So like, why? he's not. He hasn't accomplished.
That's a bad comparison right there, though.
Accomplished in his 4 years, tenured.
I'll say this: if you put Baker Mayfield in the same position where Joe Flacco was playing, where you was playing with the best defense in 3 decades,
he'll find a way to ruin it. He will find a way to ruin it.
No, he would have won the game because
dog, come on, man. You might want to stop drinking, bro. It's not good for drinking and driving.
Baker Mayfield talking about he ready to.
There's no way.
Baker Mayfield talking about he ready to make plays with his legs too. He ready to shake off his injuries. He's ready to get out there. You know what I mean? So I like a Baker Mayfield with a chip on his shoulder. I ain't saying he good. But I like, I don't mind Baker Mayfield as a competitor. I do think that he has made some missteps in his image for sure. But, I don't want to necessarily say, he's terrible. You know what I mean? Baker Mayfield is a serviceable quarterback. I don't know if I take him over Lamar Jackson, especially in these weather conditions or, game on the line. But at the same time, the Ravens haven't been an automatic win either. You know what I mean? Lamar Jackson and them, they've had to rely on Justin Tucker to win some games that, you would think that they really still lost.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Every great quarterback relies on their field goal kicker to win them games. Tom Brady will be 2-7 if it wasn't
you talking about the first 2 or 3 years, though. You talking about the first 2 or 3 years of Brady when they had to do that.
No, I'm talking
Brady now doesn't have to rely on that. Brady now doesn't have to rely on that like that.
A win is a win, all I know. And all I know is you have to get into field goal position first. And there have been multiple drives where he took them and got a TD. Like,
I'll tell you this.
How many quarterbacks do you think can actually put it on the money when it counts? And the whole stadium is roaring. You can't hear nothing.
A lot
you
of
think there's a lot?
I wouldn't have Baker Mayfield run my 2-minute drill. There's no way I have Baker Mayfield running my 2-minute drill.
So I can name you 10 quarterbacks right now that's starting in the NFL that got game-winning drives in the last 3 years, bro.
One.
No, you can't,
We're talking about in the Super Bowl when it matters. In the biggest moments. We're not talking about in the playoff. I mean, in the playoffs or in the regular season. We're talking about the biggest games and the biggest moments where they matter. Huh?
The quarterback can drive you down the field and get you the yards you can necessary. But if that field goal kicker don't make that field goal, you lose the game and lose every opportunity.
But we're not going to talk about like he didn't have any weapons for the past however many years. You had a broken Gronk, a broken Julian Edelman, and a bunch of third-string receivers. Are we serious right now? We act like he has Randy Moss on his team every year, or Devontae Adams, or Michael Thomas, or OBJ, or anything.
Who does? Who has top 5 defense every year?
Yes, Brady.
Are we still talking about Baker? Are we talking about Baker Mayfield? Or are we talking about Tom Brady?
Wait. Which one are we talking about? Baker and Dover rankings. I think the Browns are 9th in Dover, so the defensive ranking is pretty good with Joe Hayden and them boys. No, he's on the Steelers. No, yeah.
Then why
Joe
do they got a losing record, dog?
I said the Browns will won
Oh,
today
yeah.
if they focus on running. We said you came in a little late. We talked about this a little earlier, but I said the Browns will win if they focus on running.
The Steelers got a losing record, but when the Packers won the Super Bowl in 2011, they actually had a losing record the first 8 games of the season, then turned it around. Most great teams turn it around week 10. They turn it on, especially Tom Brady. That's why you should bet on him today, because he's turned on.
No, they barely beat Detroit, man. You realize that? They barely beat Detroit. Detroit should have won that damn game.
A lot of teams barely beat Detroit. Detroit covered the spread.
No, that's not true. No. Shit.
Detroit covered the spread against the Browns. They covered the spread against the Ravens. They covered the spread against – the only team that didn't cover the spread against was the Bengals. The Lions was competitive in most of their games. They just don't have their defense is ranked 28th, and their
they didn't cover the spread against Minnesota either, man, because they didn't score a damn point against Minnesota.
So 2 out of –
I don't know what the spread was on that game, but they didn't score a damn point. You can't cover the spread if you don't score a point, dog.
If the Browns want to make the playoffs, they gotta win today, and they gotta beat the Steelers, and they gotta beat Cincinnati. I don't think they win in all 3 of them games. I don't think they win in 2 of those games. So I mean, I don't want to necessarily pile on to Baker Mayfield or anything like that, or pile on.
How long, Kyle? He's trash.
But they got some work to do. And they got a great defense. I think Myles Garrett is on track to be like the Browns' leading sack leader for a season if he gets like 2 more sacks before the year's out. So they got a nice little defense, but they got work to do. They're last in their division. Cincinnati, they are not to be slept on. And then the Steelers, I don't really know. Any game they had to win, it might be the Steelers, just because it's hard to really see what Pittsburgh is right now. But the Browns got a lot of work to do. I'm not a hater of Baker, but I'm not a believer either. They got to prove it before I can say anything.
The Browns will never win a Super Bowl in our lifetime. That's a fact. I don't think the Browns ever win a Super Bowl in our lifetime. I don't.
Well, why are you riding with Baker Mayfield? You defend him like he's the greatest thing going, dog. I don't understand that, bro.
Quarterback. I think
he said Kareem Hunt. He brought up the running backs. He didn't bring up Baker when he said they were.
No, he was talking about Baker Mayfield though. He was just talking about scoring drives and.
Well, he said there have been a bunch of quarterbacks that have had scoring drives. That's where we kind of got lost. But the whole conversation he brought up, he said they got Kareem Hunt and then the cornerback back. They didn't. He wasn't bringing up Baker, but I mean, I get his point.
He said he coming back. I think he said he got some smoke for y'all. He said he about to go on Wi-Fi.
Sound like he might have been smoking. Them left-hand cigarettes are rough, man. Shit.
I was just laughing when he got out the car. His voice got all calm. I had to look to see, was that him talking?
He might have some fumes going on in there, bro.
Man.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, you look at the Browns. The Browns being led by questionable leaderships on both sides of the ball. The defense, Myles Garrett, smart guy, but I don't think all the screws are in the right place. And Baker Field is just not right. Not to me. This man, he tried to run from the police with his slow drunk ass. What type of decision making is that?
No escapability at all. That told you right there. He was going to be trash. So
questionable. No, you can't leave my team, bro.
Yeah. I'm not really a gambler, but is anybody betting today? Any of the games? Anybody got money on the games?
I bet the league, dog. It's a mediocre league, man. Everybody's 5-5, and anything can happen. I don't bet football, bro.
At the Broncos.
If you're gonna do it, you got to do it within the first 5 weeks, man. After that, man, it's rough with them injuries and all that, and then Vegas is spot on everything. You can't beat Vegas most of the time, man. That's why they Vegas.
Yeah.
25.
I was trying to give my man a little bit of time, see if he pop on for a second for another 5 minutes.
He got some more smoke for us, I guess.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of sad about them Bears, though, man. I think I posted, like, I can't believe I'm even watching them. And then even though they won, it just wasn't no excitement for me. It was just like,
I mean, the
okay,
Bears
y'all
did
won.
this to themselves. They got such bad leadership all the way up and down. You know, from their press conferences to how they address controversy to, you know what I mean? Just the entire optics of the Bears is just bad. You know, for them to be a professional sports organization, like
You
top
think?
10 earning organization in across the sports world, for them to
Do you
be
think we
so
need? I'm
dysfunctional.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you think we need? Do you think we need new ownership? I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
much
yeah.
respect to McCaskey family, but man, I really think that's what needs to happen.
They
They
need
Truth
a
be told, I
new
really think that's what
They
needs to
need a
happen.
new president of football operations. I actually think that the Bears as a company aren't, I mean, well, they got some questionable hiring practices that I'm not going to get into, but I think that they're a decent company in terms of like, you know, fan engagement and whatnot. But the football part of it is where they lack it.
That's
So
the
from the
problem.
president,
Mhm.
from the GM
That's the
and
problem.
the president of football operations on down, they need to get rid of all of them because,
Where
you
the
know,
buck stops, the person who's making the decisions for the Bears knows nothing about football. Nothing. I forget which McCaskey is it, but that dude looked like he was getting tortured in high school. They looked like they were stuffing him in lockers. He was like, this is
well,
the
see, I
person that's
disagree.
making. Well, here's the thing, right? So I don't know if you remember last year when everyone Nagy. Do you know what this fool did? He called the dude in Arizona, the Bidwell dude, to ask him what he should do. You asking the Cardinals what you should do about your team? The Cardinals, bro? Like, I think what's going on now with the stadium is now little game about the stadium. So they bought that land out in Arlington Heights. It's really not for this. It's that land won't be for the McCaskies. It'll be for whoever they sell to. And they will sell. They had an article about. They said if the old lady falls over and dies tomorrow, the team goes to, I believe, the oldest boy, and if they sell the team. I forgot what the details are, but basically, if they sell the team tomorrow and the boy owns it, they're gonna get hit so hard with taxes, it's gonna ruin everything. So they're gonna find a way to sell that team to somebody without dealing with those taxes, man. But
I don't
that's the
know.
only thing that's gonna fix it, bro. You
I
got
can't see it. I can't see it. The Bears is a family
they have no
business, you
attachment to the
know,
team, bro.
but they
They
don't
have
got
no
nothing
attachment to
else.
the team.
I mean, but I just said the Bears organization is like top 10 in revenue or whatever it is. And the Bears organization, when you look up and down the C-suite executives, it's the last name McCaskey is all through that joint. So if they sell the team, I mean, unless they make it so all these people can keep their jobs, that's the family business. They don't got no oil. They don't have no agencies. They don't have nothing like that. The Chicago Bears is their business. They got sons and cousins, nieces, nephews. Everybody through there is working there. So to sell the team would be pretty much to sell off the whole
The
family business. It's like
family
Jerry Jones selling the Cowboys.
selling the family.
Yeah,
And
like
you could
you
split
getting rid of
$5
everybody. So
billion
I'm not saying that they
around
shouldn't. I'm
million.
just saying that they probably won't. I just can't see it happening. Plus, it's like once they get that new stadium, that's gonna be more money to make. They're probably gonna build it to have a sports book. They're probably gonna build it to be able to incorporate other concerts. And if the Bears own it outright, that's gonna be more money going to the McCaskies, if anything. So I think it's Ted Phillips. They need to get rid of Ted Phillips. They need to get rid of Ryan Pace. They need to get rid of Matt Nagy. Those three changes alone will turn their whole season around because you're right. The McCaskies and Virginia McCaskey and them, they don't make no football decisions. So while we can criticize them for that, we also can't really blame them for when the football part isn't going right. They're not involved in the football part at all. They're just making the hire. So they got to hire better people between Ted Phillips, Ryan Pace, and the head coach. If they can get those three positions corrected, the Bears could turn their season around. They already got the franchise quarterback. They can't keep him healthy, but they got somebody. So, I just think that those are the places that they need to make some improvements. Not so much because the ownership changes, but you still got Ryan Pace and you still got Matt Nagy. It's going to be the same kind of issue. So, what are we really saying here?
Well, I think we need to get a new owner before we decide on the coach and everything else, man. Because I don't want these guys, the owner currently, to have the decision on who to play, manage personnel, and then pick us a coach, and then he's fired the next week. I don't want that. That's what happened with Houston. That's what happened with the Texans, and I don't want to be in that same situation. Something's got to change, man.
That's fair.
Is Khalil Mack still on the not the Browns, the Bears?
He's on IR. He's done for the season.
He on the payroll, but I don't know if he was on the team. He ain't been
to me, I know. I don't know if y'all heard that rumor about him. The Vegas Raiders talking about they wanted him. Give him back to him.
They can have him.
It's too late now. It's too late. They should have did that. I remember one of the first shows I said that the Bears need to get rid of Khalil Mack because he's injured, no motor.
Kyle, April be here soon. We could try it again.
No, you're gonna have to get him on a discount now because he got that big whale of a contract and he just had foot surgery. You know, there was already questions about his motor 2 seasons ago. They was wondering what was going on with Khalil Mack. Then last year he was, off and on. He had a couple injuries. And he doesn't really say much, so there's not really a lot to criticize in terms of him as a person. He's just like, Khalil Mack is not playing today, and we just move on. So they should have been, recognized that in him. So to be
look at like this.
They should have took
it. Instead of 2 first-round draft picks, we'll just take 1 in the second.
I can't see a team wanting to take that. I mean, what team is really vying for a legit outside linebacker, defensive end? And they might now, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? Who knows?
Did somebody ask about the Cubs? I don't want to talk about the Cubs until February. I don't want to talk about them dudes, man.
Chilling, man. I heard y'all say something about Denver. Denver against the Chargers today, right? I want to see what Melvin Gordon gonna do up against. I know Melvin Gordon got something to prove, man. The way they kind of kicked him to the curb after he did all he did for them. I feel he got something to prove. So keep an eye on that Denver versus Chargers, man.
I was about to bring up something. Like if I was a coach, I doubt the league will ever do this, but I feel like players like running backs, tight ends, these D ends, man, you might just need to give them a year off. Sometimes, like if they really that nice and you think that important to your franchise, just give them a year off. Because look at Gronk. I'm not saying he rechanged or whatever it is, but he got some time off and he's happy playing football again. So I'm like, sometimes I feel like these guys just tired getting beat up. They're like, just give me a year. You don't have to pay me, or maybe you can help them out, like just living. But I feel like some of these guys just lose that drive because they just hurt all the time. They're like, I don't want to feel hurt.
Yeah, bro. It's a very cool game. Like, I was going to say, it's a cool game, man. Oh, my bad.
No. I just want to say he's absolutely correct, and I think the NBA is doing it too. If you think about a lot of our favorite players in the NBA from back in the day whose careers were cut short because of injury, imagine if they had the league today, where technology-wise, and just you look at a person like Kawhi Leonard, man, these dudes just get days off where you were required back in the day to play that 82 games. You literally had to have a leg shot off to not be on that court. You know what I mean? It had to be something serious. Whereas now, LeBron just wanted to.
They wanted to be there. They took that as a badge of honor, man. They don't do that no more.
But the thing about the NFL, you can't afford to take games off like that voluntarily if you're not hurt. You just can't do it because that's how important they are. In the NBA, you can take off out of 82 games, maybe take off 10, 15 hurt. You can't afford that in the NFL. That 1 or 2 games, you might not make the playoffs. You could be like remember when New England was 11-5 and they didn't even make the playoffs?
Bro,
it's hard. Them situations are tough, man.
It's a brutal league. It's the sport itself is brutal. And it's a very uncaring sport. I remember my first year of college, I dislocated my hip. They moved the drill up 15 yards. And then when I came in for treatment the next day, they had another quarterback in on a visit. That's the day I learned about football, dog. Like, it is one of them things where they're going to use you up until you have any use, and they'll send you on your way, bro. The average career is 3 years, I think it is, man. Khalil Mack is what, 32, 33 years old, man. Hell, he's 3 years over the limit anyway. So it's time. This happens to all them players. It's time, bro.
Yeah.
What do you
Jay.
think? Yeah, I'm cutting out.
No, you good.
What do you think they could do? Like, hypothetically, if you were in the football league and let's say you had an awesome running back and you wanted them to last, like, let's just say an extra 3 years, you wanted them to last. What could you implement? What could you do? What would you do?
I would get
You bring
players
in
to do-
you bring in 2 more running backs. That's what you do. You bring in 2 more running backs, and then you spread out. You develop your guys, and you spread out the carries. If you got a guy that you really like, you don't necessarily take him out the game, but give him breaks within the game. Look at the Bears. The Bears got 3 real serviceable running backs, even though they really high on David Montgomery. You still got Damian Williams, and you got Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert is a rookie, I believe, so his situation is a little different. But the guy is David Montgomery for right now. Even though, and so the way to extend his shelf life is to get some other guys in there, get you a 3rd down back, get you a red zone back, and then you kind of spread it out a little bit. That way you
Alabama
develop more guys and kind of
do
keep
what
everything
Alabama
moving.
does, bro. Nobody. That's why the league loves Alabama running backs, because they don't come into the NFL with 400 carries on their body already, man. They got 3, 4. They got 6 guys on that roster that were 5-star recruits running the ball in high school, man. You don't want to carry the rock. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's happening. You have very few teams in the league now where they go exclusively giving a guy 40 carries a game. You're gonna give somebody else some touches. But I think if you want to extend running backs out to 8 to 10 years, you definitely got to have 3, at least 2, man, maybe 3. And the same thing is, and another thing is, running backs have to. If you noticed in the last 10 years, guys don't go to the sidelines with the shoulder down no more, or they don't initiate contact anymore. I mean, it feels cool, it looks tough or whatever, but them collisions add up, man. Wide receivers catch that ball and fall down now, man. So, and another thing is they've changed the style of play. Do you remember? I think it was about 03, 04, where half the quarterbacks in the league were on IR or some craziness like that, man. Like, they had to change the game to take some of the violence out, because you're giving somebody $50 million and they one hit away from being done, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
And I don't have a problem showing my ignorance in this regard. I don't know why the NFL doesn't do that with more positions. I don't know why, or not that I don't know why. I always want to explain to me how the talent gap between your first string and your second string is so wide that
because it's salary cap. Everybody's backup quarterback is Uncle Rico, bro.
But that feels like principle, though. That doesn't necessarily feel football related. It feels more like we paying him all this money, so he better get on out there. When really you're paying that money to keep him on your team because he's productive. You're not paying him now. You're gonna use him up because of the money. I mean, I get it, but and I know against common sense when it comes to that. But I've just always felt like, if you got 2 guys, look at Oakland. They got Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota. They could probably play Marcus Mariota a little bit more than they do. Or the Bears. I feel like the Bears fumbled the opportunity to have a more dual quarterback type of scheme. And I know that Andy Dalton was injured and then Justin Fields got injured, but they had 3 quarterbacks on their roster, and they knew that their offensive line was a bit suspect, that their offensive scheme was a bit suspect. So they should probably have a little bit better of a rotation than they do. And I feel like it'll extend your guys. It'll keep the defenses guessing. It'll keep keep everything fresh instead of just depending on 1 or 2 dudes to do everything. Then when that dude gets injured, now your team is all in shambles because they don't have enough chemistry with your second and third string guys. So I don't know why, with the same way they do the running back, okay, let's get this guy 20 carries. This other dude's going to get 10 carries. This other dude's going to get 5 carries. Instead of giving everybody the carries,
Because there's always little things like momentum, or even like you said, you don't know why the NFL doesn't do it, because if you devalue certain positions enough, you don't have to pay them enough. But if you make them valuable, now you got to pay them enough. And those players, like the NFL is all money, because you see running backs getting out, like their average lifespan is 4 years. Like wide receivers is like 10, quarterbacks probably longer. It's all about the bag. And so if they realize their value, they're going to ask for more. So like this, all these second-rate positions or the third, second string special teams, they devalue them because they don't want to pay them more, and they don't have more positions because there's a roster. And like it's mainly about money, and like he said, the cap, and then just the roster, and like what's important. Who do you want to pay more of? Would I rather have 2-star receivers than 2-star quarterbacks to do this whole double quarterback thing, or would I rather fill out my offensive line or my defense? And it's like, who am I paying, and how important this is to me, and how important it is to the league and the market value of it. So it is a lot of money, I think, more so than just they don't like, it's not the opportunity. It's like, what do they value more?
But in
it's
real time, you know what I mean? In real time, let's take the Chargers, for example. If they want to try to make sure that they're not putting too much on Aaron Donald, they could sub the second stringer in for a couple series here and there. Not to say they're going to take Aaron Donald off the field, or they're trying to necessarily devalue that position, but how they're going to extend Aaron Donald's career, it would be by putting in the second string guy more often than not. And I understand what you're saying. Like, if they do that, then that second string guy is going to expect to be paid more, or just in general, second string guys are going to maybe demand more. But
not everybody's nice. You got to understand that. Like, even in football and high school level, they would make you play dual positions. If you were a wide receiver and you were like nice, they would probably pick you a cornerback or safety. And that's just because you were way better than
horse, bro.
Listen, they could. I didn't want to say like, but they're not trying to take you off the field, and they will wear you down.
They do that now, though. Make them, they give them breaks and all that. Only position you won't see get a break is the quarterback. Even some of your offensive linemen, they rotate like that. Quarterback's probably the only position that you won't see somebody rotating in and out like that. The old saying is, you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. So, I mean, I don't know. It's the thing about having a break. It's going to be hard to do, like I said, in the NFL, due to the importance of every game. So.
They, if on this topic, they're legislating a lot of this out the game anyway. What you don't see anymore is the 6'2", 6'3", 220-pound safety that comes across the middle and takes your head off your shoulders, bro. They legislated them dudes out the league. You remember? You'll never see another. What's the guy that played for Seattle? Cam Chancellor? Ain't no more Cam Chancellor.
Never see another Cam Chancellor. Them days are over with.
Them days are over, bro. Matter of fact, I remember. Did you remember the Bengals? Anybody here care about or remember the Bengals? But the Bengals had a guy from USC about 10 years ago named Taylor Mays. The dude was like 6'2", 230, and like he was just like, his whole thing was to kill people, like just come up off that safety position and murder people. He was out the league in 3 years because they couldn't keep him healthy, and he kept getting fired. And he was just out the league in 3 years. They're legislating this out of the game. I heard at some point that they were going to prevent offensive and defensive linemen from taking a 3-point stance to minimize initial contact. Like that's crazy to me, that you just gonna have everybody in a 2-point stance, offensive and defensive line, but to minimize those concussions or whatever, that's what they're thinking about, bro.
It's them head injuries. Too many people complaining about what happens after football and what is done to them and their families. And it's like, if we can mitigate this guy taking this guy's head off, then let's do it. But I mean, they'll try to just basically have more offense now. It's all right, if the defense ain't going to be able to hit, then that means we need to have more touchdowns to make up for the excitement that this defense isn't bringing per se.
Yeah, all these 5'10", 5'9" superstar receivers running around. They wasn't doing that 15 years ago, man. You had to have a TO. You had
they
to
sure
have
was.
a commercial.
You speaking about that, man? The Bears
tight ends now, bro.
The Bears got a team full of baby receivers, and I'm sick of them.
I'm taller than every single Bears receiver on the roster.
That's terrible.
Careful, man. Careful, man.
Who's that? CD Lamb. CD Lamb. He tall, but he's skinny.
Yeah.
Don't send him through the middle. Ray Lewis. You want to get his head dropped.
That's the rule changes, though. Receivers.
The good thing about that is that you can't hit like that no more anyway. So a lot of these little small baby receivers can get away with being in the league because of the rule change of how you tackling, how you hitting, how hard you in. You can't drive your shoulder into a man's chest. They're gonna throw a flag on you. You know, it'll made it so tenderfoot.
Yeah. You remember Santana Moss was an exception to the rule. Now he's the rule, and the big physical wide receivers are the exception now. It's crazy, man. Got to piss off guy. What's the big boy down in Atlanta?
DK Metcalf.
That's from Florida. It's got to piss guys off him because now you're paying him like a tight end and not a wide receiver because you're using him at the Y instead of the X or the Z. So when he goes for his contract, they're gonna pay you like Gronk. They're not gonna pay you like Julio Jones. So that's a crazy part too.
I don't know if y'all remember. Remember that's what happened with Jimmy Graham. His agent was looking at opportunities, how many opportunities he had playing, like at the receiver's position compared to tight end, and he tried to get that receiver paid.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were talking about, Kyle. Is that I think they are devaluing certain positions so you don't have to pay them. You know, you can strike on a running back or a tackle or a guard or a safety in the third or fourth round, pay him third, fourth round money, let him get to his second contract, and then you've already drafted his replacement. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work, actually. But you know, we'll see how it works out in the long term, whatever. But yeah, I think you're going to actually get to the point where you don't have number one receivers and number one running backs. They're going to be rotations, man.
Plus, you know, the talent, kids are only getting better. So I'm assuming that the gap, you know, the gap between your 5-star and your 4.5 stars is going to get smaller and smaller. So, you know, as time goes on, I can't imagine that the first string guy, your first string defensive end, is so much better than the second string, where you can't give the second string an extra 10 snaps. Not because you trying, I mean, again, a consequence of that might be the devaluing of the position from a financial standpoint, but you're really doing it to keep your main guy fresh. You know what I mean? You don't want to put too much on him because, again,
kids are playing 7-on.
Yeah, I mean,
how many kids are playing 7-on-7 in middle school now, bro?
I mean, how many people? Or we're going to get off topic to make my example, but in the NBA, how many people do you think has that quote unquote Mamba mentality? Even though there's been a progression, even you could say Michael had it. So even from the 80s, there's been a progression. But how many people have we seen that actually have this? It's the same in football. You can be a defensive end and be all right, be big, be strong, but if you don't have that will to kill and want to actually blow through somebody, and also discipline, it takes more than just being, I guess, physically skilled. You know what I mean? You actually have to want it. And there are a lot of guys who want it more than other people, and they're not as skilled. They just want it more, and they blow through it. Like me, when I was growing up playing basketball, I wasn't the best skill, but I was that Dennis Rodman type where I was getting boards, I was blocking shots, I was moving niggas out the paint. And like, I wasn't even the biggest. The coach was I was at AU tournament, and the coach was getting mad at their team because they couldn't stop me from getting a rebound. I couldn't hit a jump shot to save my life. I just wanted it more. And guys like that will definitely outwork or out succeed other people, and they won't play games because other guys want it more than them.
Yeah.
But that's like I was saying. There's really no. I'm watching New England. I mean, the Tampa Bay Bucks out. Who's the number one receiver on that team? You don't know. Just same with Pittsburgh. Who's their number one? You don't know. There is one. So it's like a multitude of dudes just in there rotating in and out. They don't really have a number one. They don't really have a top dog. I mean, any one of them can go off any given day. I mean, it's just rotates like that. But you got that great quarterback that's going to make them guys look good, make them look like they could be number ones. You send them to another team, and they look like trash. Y'all remember Alvin Harper when he was with the Cowboys, and they thought he was supposed to be number one. He was just in Michael Irvin's shadow. He went to the Redskins. The Washington football team, and looked like trash. Didn't do anything. Forgot all about him, even though he ain't played in the league anymore.
There will be number one receivers, because number one receivers will be the superstars, the freak athletes, they're just different, and you're just going to put them out there on every snap unless they're tired. You're just going to, and it is what it is. I mean, they're once in a generation. Julio Joneses, DK, Antonio, Michael Irvins, Devontae Adams. Like, it's not a lot of guys like that. It's a lot of decent receivers, but I don't know. I just think you're always going to have those. You might be able to fluctuate the second and third where they rotate, and maybe you might sub out the first, but you'll always have a first string receiver. I don't think that's
It's definitely gonna be your 1A receiver, but I think what that receiver will look like is gonna be different. It's no longer gonna be DK Metcalf, Brandon Marshall, you know what I mean? Them type of guys. It's gonna be, the Tyler Lockett's
They
and
play the
Tyreek
wall now. They
Hills.
play tight end now, bro.
I mean,
those
DK
guys
Metcalf
play
has
the
all
wall
the
now.
makings, has all the makings of a number one receiver, but the guy in Seattle is Tyler Lockett, to me at least. You know what I mean? Or for every Devontae Adams, you're gonna have smaller guys. I feel like that's why the Bears, they keep trying to duplicate what the Chiefs are doing, because they keep going with all these speed receivers. So you would think that their number one receiver is Allen Robinson, when really they're trying to make Mooney be their number one receiver. Last year, the year before, they were trying to make Taylor Gabriel be their number one receiver. So they've never really given Allen Robinson the love that he deserves. And he's a 6'4" quintessential pro receiver. And he can't, he get one target a game. But you got other guys on other teams, they 5'10". You know what I mean? Cooper Kupp, he's not a big dude.
Wes Welkers.
You know what I mean? You could go all the way down the line with guys. And so I think there's definitely going to be number one receivers, but it's going to be the speed guy, the speed or break, over the top guy, and not so much, fade passes.
That's the way they're ran now, though. That's what offenses are doing. So they've taken that back shoulder. I'm sorry, not the back shoulder, but that inside shoulder fly route away with the single high safety. Sometimes now you can't do the Randy Moss go up and get it no more, bro. You know what I'm saying? You really can't do that with the way NFL defense team, or they want something catch and run with the ball, and the bigger guys don't really do that. But I mean, you're going to see a lot more of guys in the 5'9" to 5'11" range really ball out, because that's what the rules allow now. And kids are better now, bro. I didn't start playing 7-on-7 until my junior year of high school. They got kids now, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, slinging the ball 30 times now, bro. Like kids catching the ball 10, 15 times a game. 5th, 6th grade, bro. 5th, 6th grade. So they're the quality way better than they were 10, 15 years ago.
I think it's also the quality of the quarterbacks. Like, what are we asking of the quarterbacks now? We're asking them to run, or we asking them to be efficient at passing, or we asking them to do this and that. I think back in the day, you could have thrown it up because you probably had a lot more accurate quarterbacks, and you probably had better receivers to go up and catch those balls. Now they want more mobility and create space. There's like, all right, the little guy, he can probably get a cut faster out, get it, then he can get his feet moving up the field, get a couple more yards, rather than trying to make a big play and just catch it down with a big receiver. I mean, I think that's just the way it went. They're not trying to make big solo catches anymore, like a Dez Bryant type. They're trying to get a guy to get that run off the ball, maybe an out route and then up the sideline, or maybe, up the middle, and, whatever it is. But they just really don't want to throw it deep and have him catch it for 40 yards. They would rather him run it for 40 yards or catch it for 20 and then run for another 20 or something like that.
Yeah, that also kind of speaks to their offensive scheme too. A lot of these coaches nowadays, those are the plays they're calling, them bubble screens and them, quick slants and stuff like that. So in addition to what you're talking about talent-wise, coaches are, that's their playbook these days too. So that's probably why that is.
I think for every game-breaking player, like the wide receiver, like the Randy Mosses or the Brandon Marshalls, those big game players, you also always need like a Wes Welker, a Julian Edelman, or what's the little man that just went to Buffalo? Cole Beasley. You know what I'm saying? You need those little small run the middle, like you said, throw it for 10 yards, run it for 40. You need those type of players, man.
Man, could you imagine the Houston Oilers whole team with Warren Moon, with that type of offense they was running? Imagine that in 2021, man. I mean, this type of offense they ran, and the freedom of movement they allowed, and you couldn't tackle them or you can't hit them. You couldn't put your hands on them. All type of record books Warren would have had.
I mean, look at Antonio Brown. We're not even talking about like these little like Wes Welkers or like, Julian Edelman's. Like Antonio Brown they talked about him being one of the top 3 ever. but then he slowed down because of what was going on. But like his numbers, he was on pace to be something, and he was what,
His route
5'10",
running,
but he's
yeah.
5'10", putting up numbers, and he was
Yeah,
on
he
the kick return too.
His
he's
route
good.
running,
He
absolutely.
yeah, he wasn't top
fantastic.
3. Yeah, he
I'm
wouldn't
talking
be a
about
top
terms
3.
of numbers. They were definitely talking about him when he was on the Steelers, and then he started going through his whole little controversy. I don't think he
Yeah,
was
but
going to be up there. I don't think he was going to be top 3 because you got the top 3.
shit, you got
I think
Jerry,
solidified with
T.O.
Gio, Rice,
and Randy
Randy.
Moss.
But like top 10, he was nice, but he's also not the tallest. You know what I mean? He was what, 5'10". He was hitting them route runnings, his feet, and he was getting big plays like Tyreek. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I find it hard to compare receivers from this era to other receivers just because the rule changes are just so dramatic, man. Like, it's really easy to run a 15-yard in and sit there when John Lynch is not there to take your head off your shoulders, bro. It's real easy to do that.
Big difference.
I don't know if y'all seeing what's going on there.
Yeah, I'm checking that out, man. Hey, Tom Brady's not looking good right now, man. He's looking rough.
I think he's bored, man. I think
Is
he's
that what it
bored.
is?
I think he's bored, man. He got to challenge himself, man. Like, let me put my back against the wall, man, so I have something to play for, man.
He gonna wait till that fourth quarter of the last 9 minutes of the game. Turn it on.
Man.
Jeez. I don't know, man. That running game's gonna hurt him, man. They gonna chew that ball up if Brady don't get on it right now. I mean, they just intercepted him.
That's the way
So
you
we'll
have
see,
to
man.
beat them. You got to keep them on the sidelines. But that's from most quarterbacks,
Yeah,
though.
for
Most
sure.
that top 5 quarterbacks, you got to keep on the sidelines.
You better,
Yeah.
because if not, he gonna punish you.
Like, straight up, man. Like, Tom Brady, if you lay him on his ass a few times in that first half, you got him. You know what I mean? If you let him stand in that backfield with a damn tuxedo on, he gonna pick you apart all night.
How many
You know what I'm
times did
saying?
he actually get laid on his ass, though? Honestly,
Now he has. That's what I was about to say. That's if the
Giants
ref
Super
let
Bowl.
That's what
that's
the ref let us lay
back in
him on
the
his ass.
day. I'm talking
It
about in
don't
general.
happen.
Like, it don't
Yeah, it
happen.
don't happen.
Referee ain't gonna let us lay him on his ass. You might better touch him on his shoulder, but you ain't gonna lay him on his ass.
Right.
That's
I
one
don't
of the
know last time
reasons.
Tom Brady got tackled hard. You know how Justin Fields be getting backflipped and all that, and he be getting speared and all that. I ain't seen Tom Brady get tackled like that in about 5 years. I don't even know if
That's never gonna happen.
He's got enough common sense to not have his ball in the hand. See, I like Justin Fields. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. But son, get the ball out your hands. Either make it. You got to be more decisive. First
Everybody
read,
trying to be
second
Patrick
read,
Mahomes.
get up on gone. Get up on gone, man.
Everybody think they can be Lamar, Patrick, and they can run and throw some side diving plays. Like, why don't y'all just be like Tom, stand straight up and throw the ball instead of think you got to make some miraculous play? I'm not saying everybody be like Tom, but
That's because a lot of
But
these
you know,
teams, they got turnstiles at they tackle positions. You know what I mean? They can't do that, because we think if teams could just be like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have the greatest line, so he can kind of mobile a little bit, fast space, and chuck the ball 60 yards. So maybe a lot of quarterbacks, they don't have the arm and accuracy that Aaron Rodgers has. But I always feel like a good comparison for a non-mobile mobile quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. He's not known for his speed or anything like that, but he'll
But he has some
take it
wheels
off.
on him.
y'all know he can get up, especially when he's younger. He can get up.
When he need to, you see him put them wheels to use, yo. When he needs to,
But I look at it like this, man. You know how it is. The coach always tell you, don't try to dribble up the ball. The ball moves faster when you pass it. The same way as far as you being a quarterback, you trying to run it, you're gonna get further down the field passing the ball than you are trying to run the ball. So
I think the ones that
And less
evolve over
damage.
time tend to figure that out, though. Remember Donovan McNabb had to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Donovan McNabb had to. Steve Young had to figure it out at some point. You know what I mean? You can't just run around. Maybe he didn't figure it out completely because I don't know if y'all ever seen the last play of his career, but my God, he got rocked. Y'all remember that? It was a knee. Y'all remember
all of them.
RG3 had to figure out real fast too.
Ooh,
Yo, even Joe Montana in Kansas City, dog. Yo, they rocked his brain, yo. I felt so bad. You know what I mean? You looking at your hero just get turned into a carrot. Yo, I'm like, damn, he's stiff.
Yeah, man. But that's you got to figure it out, though. I mean, there's very few quarterbacks that make it to 30, 32 years old. Right? Look at Cam, man. Cam, like, I don't even know how Cam is still alive at this point, bro.
He's 6'5" and built. He's been 6'5" and about 200 and something pounds, 220.
260.
260, whatever. I don't even know what he is.
Yeah, but
that's
a lot of punishment, though. That's a lot of punishment you're taking, though, over 10 years span.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if anybody was going to do it, I would have bet on him. I'm not betting on no little guy or no Matt Stafford or somebody.
You know what, though, man? They did Cam like that, though. I actually don't like. In his later years, Cam really shouldn't have been running. He clearly had lost a step, and he clearly needed to really be working on his passing game, like his throwing ability. So I really think that they kind of set Cam up for failure in that regard.
Yeah, like Michael Vick, man.
Right.
I don't know about that.
When Michael Vick was in Pittsburgh, he should have been back there throwing passes. He ain't got no business trying to tuck the ball and run. Any kind of option play, they shouldn't be doing none of that stuff. They should just drop back and pass. Now, if you got to escape, then that's another thing. You know, if the play breakdown, we can rely on you to still get some yards, unlike Tom Brady, who you take 2 steps and he already getting tackled. But it's another thing to make design run plays for him. And I think that guys like Cam or like even Josh Allen's going to be there soon, where they should not be making no design run plays for him. He should be passing and then be relied on to run if you need to.
Yeah, but at the same time, you also got to realize you need to make some decisions that's going to be best for you. You always call it audible. You can always call it audible. Hey, I don't like this. I ain't like what I'm seeing. Hey, I'm handing that ball off.
Looking shaky. I don't care. I don't know why people hating on Colin, but if I was a NFL GM and I was trying to win and my quarterback was on the out, I'd be like, come on, man, I'll give you a second chance. But that was just me. I don't know why teams like the Dolphins, Panthers, Eagles.
If Tyrod Taylor can still be on the team, they could find somewhere for Colin Kaepernick. So,
exactly. It's just politics, man. Once you didn't kiss the ring, once you went against the grain, it's just nobody's gonna mess with you, man. It's gonna take a special person to mess with you.
Truth be told, I don't think Colin really want to come back, man.
He did.
I really don't. I don't think he did, man.
He did for a long time.
For a while, he wanted to.
I don't know, man. I mean, I maybe his first 2 or 3 years out, but you know how he just recently had a thing. I don't know if he really wanted it again.
I think he wanted it, man. Up until maybe like a year or 2 ago.
He's nice. There's too many people saying, you could have been something.
Yeah. He wanted it his way, I think. I think a lot of teams were going to be like, yeah, it'd be nice to have you, but we're going to need you to do A, B, and C. And he said, I'm not doing A, B, and C.
That's true.
I think there was some situations where he probably could have been like, he'd have stepped in there very easily. But I think, the NFL is a control league, bro. There's no room for loose cannons out there, man. And they clearly were about to inherit a loose cannon at this point. But I don't know if I think he still wanted to play, but it was just on his terms. He wanted it on his terms.
He was at the top. That's just crazy. He was literally at the top. And
yeah, but I had those same concerns about him that y'all were talking about. The RPO thing, man, I don't know how you can consistently call RPOs and have a running quarterback, and everybody's backup quarterback in the league is pretty much Uncle Rico. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody has the type of, you know what I'm saying? Nobody has a backup where you throw them in there and it's going to be okay. Very few teams had that situation. So I don't know if I want to put my quarterback at risk like that, man.
Yeah, they definitely, Jacksonville definitely had, who was there? Uncle Rico? I forgot his
Gardner
name.
Minshew.
Gardner Minshew.
If the Eagles don't win today, who we blaming?
But it's wild. That's the salary cap, though. It's wild when you go through rosters in the NFL and you look at the backup. It be dudes that played Division II, Division III. They never got a shot with their college. It's never. I always think to myself, okay, so you got about 80 Power 5 college football teams, right? And you telling me out of those 80 teams that there wasn't 10, 20 guys who played for 2-3 years at like Arizona or at Minnesota or something, who were top flight Division I quarterbacks that y'all they just nowhere. They're nowhere, bro. They all went to go sell insurance when they graduated, I guess. I don't know.
Too much.
What's up?
You probably have to pay them too much.
Yeah. I guess maybe, and that's the thing. I wonder if dudes, like especially quarterbacks, check out after a certain time. Like, look, man, if I ain't gonna be a starter in the league and I can't sit on somebody's bench and collect the check, let me get on up out of here. I don't know, man. But the level of backup quarterbacks in the league is like, you see him, you like, who the hell? Like, what?
And the thing
The
about it,
backup
if you have
quarterback position might be one of the best roles to have. That if you a guy with no real talent, you could Nick Foles your way through your career. You know what I mean? Mitchell Trubisky found a landing spot. So there's ways, you just got to be willing to accept your role, accept the money they're going to pay you. If you want to be on the show, you could be there. So, you just got to be willing to kiss the ring, bend the knee, accept your role, and be quiet. I mean, Colin will probably still be in the league today if had he done these things. I mean, there's a lot of players who wanted to go against the grain. They didn't. They overplayed their hands, and now they on the outs. And so, had they just kind of capitulated, I think that he'd still be there. But I agree with y'all. He didn't. The last 2 years, especially with that whole tryout fiasco that happened, I don't think he wanted to play either. I mean, I think he wanted to prove a point. The bag he was after was pretty much was going to be bigger than what he was going to get in the NFL. So, in the end, I just think that everything just kind of fell apart there.
some of them, the backup quarterback job, that is a awesome job, man. Like you look at like half the season, 75% of the season, they sitting on there, with the clipboard on their little iPad, with a plate of chicken lo mein in their lap. Like, they're doing nothing half the year. But I know a lot of them be on the sidelines just praying, like, please, Ben, please keep your fat ass. You know what I'm saying? Please don't get hurt, man. I do not want to get in here, bro.
You think some of them don't want the shot? They don't want to be a
I
first string
think some.
receiver?
Yeah, I think some of the. I think you got people like Mahomes. Mahomes couldn't wait, but I think a person. There's certain dudes that be over there, man, with their dad bodies, their guts, no type of. You could tell he ain't been hitting the weights. Like, please don't get hurt, bro.
I look at it like if they like first 2 or 3 year players, they probably dying to get in. I can't wait for the shot. I'm better than the starter. But then you got them veterans who's been on the team, maybe been on 2 or 3 other teams, was a starter at one time in their career, maybe about 4 or 5 years, but now they're at the tail end of the career. Man, they just content. Man, give me my visor, give me the clipboard, hey, I'm just gonna chill.
But how old is that though? Because I mean, you could make a Ryan Tannehill career where you just keep being first strings at multiple teams and keep getting a little. You might not get the biggest bag, but you getting something, and you just keep going 2-3 years and trade. And
Ryan Tannehill's only been on 2 teams though. He's only been on 2. He was with the Dolphins. No, he's with the Dolphins and with the Titans. That was only 2 teams he was on.
He wasn't on who?
He was on the Jets.
No.
The best thing
he got drafted by the Dolphins, and then he was a free agent pickup for the Titans. So he ain't been on like multiple teams.
Somebody else saying
he was a crash test dummy on the Dolphins, man. I felt so bad for him out there.
Yeah, they didn't have a line. They was willing on trading the whole company. I don't know why.
When he got to the Titans, man, he got that shot. I was like, damn, man, I'm happy for this dude. Like, this is what he was capable of doing there, yo, but they just did not protect him, yo.
Well, they didn't invest in it. And I don't think the same thing they doing with Tua. I don't think they invested in him like they should, but now they looking to try to get a new quarterback, maybe with Watson. I mean, but the same thing's going to happen if you don't invest in your the offensive lineman for the guy. He needs offensive linemen. He needs receivers. I don't think he has that down there in Miami.
Just like the Giants, man. My team, yo. They blaming Daniel Jones. Even my pops. Oh, that damn Apple turnover. That's what my pops call him. I'm like, fam, he don't have no blocking. The same thing with Eli Manning. Eli Manning could have probably had another 2 seasons if they had an offensive line. You give Eli time, dog, he'll give you some results. You don't give him no time, dog. Eli got 2 left feet, yo. Once they break through that line.
I want to shout out Yella de la Playa. I was thinking Ryan Fitzpatrick. Thank you. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's a scrappy veteran, bro. You
That's
put
what I'm
Ryan
thinking about.
Fitzpatrick.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
my thing, though, right? When Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard, bro. So you like this is what I've always been confused about is that so the quarterback at USC or Texas or Ole Miss or whatever that was a senior, like what happened to him? Like, why do we got
He's breaking up.
Running back what
Freezing
you
up.
just said, you
like
froze
Yeah.
up. Jay.
80 dudes?
Running back what you just
Like
said.
Say
80
it over again.
dudes.
Say it over
80
again. Start
No,
over.
I'm saying, I might be having a bad internet here, but 80 dudes take snaps at the Division I level every Saturday. And you telling me you couldn't find nobody out of them 80 dudes to play backup quarterback in the league. It's just wild to me. It's wild to me. Like, who was the dude that was playing backup for the Cowboys or whatever when Dak went down for that hot minute? Like, well, he's from Northwest Central Michigan. It's like, where do y'all find these people?
I mean,
Like, where do y'all
Trey
find these
Lance,
people?
where is Trey Lance from? Didn't he play for some
From North
weird?
I get that. I get that if
They
you're
have
projecting
all the time.
He
Like-
played for North Dakota State, I believe.
Yeah, I get that. I get it if you're projecting a Division II guy to be a starter because he has those traits that can make him an NFL starter, like Carson Wentz or whatever. But it'd be like some 6'1", 180-pound dude that played at like Butthole State. Like, yeah, he was all world down there at Butthole State. Y'all didn't know. I was like, no. Where'd y'all find him at, man?
But I mean,
That's always been so crazy to me, man.
but it be those situations where the dude probably had off the field trouble, or you never know why he never got his shot at like a big university. You know what I'm saying? You look at Cam Newton. Cam Newton had to literally leave Florida where he was. What's old boy's name? Tim Tebow's backup. He had to leave to
Isn't
get
that
his
crazy?
shot. You know what I'm saying? He
Well,
backed
he
up
got in that
Tebow.
trouble though. He got in trouble at Florida. Remember they accused him of stealing laptops at Florida.
Yeah, I mean,
We know the deal
everybody
on that.
down there was trouble, bro. Everybody,
right,
they
you
had
right.
what,
They didn't have
Hernandez was down there.
the Pouncey brothers.
There's nothing else to do in Gainesville but go to jail, man. There's nothing else
And
to
football,
don't say
football
that.
in jail, bro.
Damn.
Bro, my nephew played with a guy in high school that played for the Colts and the Packers real briefly. He was a Florida Gator. I think his freshman year, he got locked up for barking at a police dog, bro. Like, what is wrong with y'all, man? Like, it's something about Gainesville, bro. It's something in Gainesville makes one people go to jail. I don't know what it is, man.
But yeah, man, you have a lot of those. You look like USC. Who they had? They had Matt Barkley. They had Matt Leinart. Like, none of those guys did nothing when they came to the league, man.
Right, and they didn't even stick around as backups long term. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, maybe they can't psychologically or spiritually accept being a backup, and I'd rather be at the crib with my money than being in this position as a backup quarterback. Maybe the ego doesn't allow it. I don't know.
Or some of them get analyst jobs. They be on like ESPN 8 talking about college football. ESPN 12.
I think it is with the quarterbacks in the college. I really think that people think that if you're not like nice, like you're just dropping dimes, or you're built like Trey Lance, where you might not be at the top school, they don't really think you're that good. You can average 200,
Facts.
250, 300 yards a game with maybe 2 touchdowns or whatever. It's like they don't think you're that good because it's like
They have no respect for you.
No, you have to drop like 400 and 5 TDs and whatever. It's like those are the quarterbacks. Oh, he's the next something. He's going to be a NFL quarterback, or he can develop. It's like it's weird.
Yeah,
but
you have to drop those same stats, but in like a Big Ten or ACC. You're not gonna get no respect when it's like, fam, no, he's actually good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that might be Deion's son's situation, man. He gonna have to. I don't know. I guess that last name is going to help him out, man. But I think they're going to always look at him as, HBCU kid, FCS kid. You know, he won't be this, he won't be that. That boy looked good, man. But I mean, if he was at Ole Miss instead of Jackson State, we probably looking at him.
Oh yeah, he would definitely get some different looks for sure, just because he's at a major university compared to that, like you said, at HBCU. So I don't know. It's
You think Dion can change that situation down there? Or is that a lost cause with HBCUs or football? Man?
no, man. I don't think it will be. It'll be a nice story because I don't see Dion doing it for his rest of his coaching career. I don't see him being there maybe another 2 or 3 years and then him moving up to something bigger and better.
I think HBCUs, all in all, this just needs to do better. I think if we want them to take it seriously, then we, as like I guess Black people, need to take it seriously. Like where our wealth is, instead of Jay-Z investing necessarily all like in the NFL, maybe he should have invested in some HBCUs, and even the HBCUs needs to do better about building wealth in their schools and trying to reach out. And it's like it's not just going to be the people not investing. It's like these HBCUs need to take some accountability too for not because I'm sure Black people would love to go to these schools, but why aren't you doing very well at like I wouldn't promoting that, like basically to not even just students, even the parents or the people who got money, and it's like try to convince them, come up with something. Like damn,
yeah, we don't believe in it. Nobody else will, bro.
It's like how do you expect everyone else would want to invest it?
Yeah, I think Dion needs to really be trying to push to try to get some of these games on TV. I think that he need to try to use his status to push to get him on ESPN prime time. You know what I mean? Instead of playing some of these, Texas A&M versus whoever on a Saturday night or whatever, some Marshall versus whoever, they need to try to maybe slot one of these HBCU games and kind of give them a spotlight, Friday Night Light spotlight, or try to get with FS1 and get a deal going. I don't think they really play any college games like that on FS1, so they need to try to do something like that. That way you can then sell, hey, you'll be on TV. You know what I mean? They already got the name, image, and likeness deals that are going out. So I think Dion could probably get more kids drafted and then try to get some TV deals done. But overall, no, I think it'd be kind of a lost cause. I mean, the schools like Notre Dame and Clemson and Alabama, Miami University, these schools have had such a head start in their recruiting. Ohio State, USC, and Texas. These schools haven't really won anything, but they have such a head start in their reputation, in terms of football, to where it's going to be hard for one guy, Deion Sanders, to change the narrative. If you got Texas coming to recruit you and Grambling to come to recruit you, just off the simple fact that Texas has a much longer lineage and history, you're going to go with Texas, even though Grambling, there might be the better program. I think Grambling is one of the better HBCU football programs in the country. And, if you're a starting quarterback for them, you might see some competition that you may not be able to even play at Texas until your third year. So, but kids don't know that because they don't really advertise. There's not really a lot of money in their facilities. There's not really a lot of money, just at the school itself. Even as a player who's on the team, whatever your major might be, because if you're looking at the data, not a lot of HBCU athletes get drafted. So that means if you're going to go there, you might want to also give some consideration to whatever your major is going to be. Well, some of these facilities, with your engineering program, your accounting program, or whatever it is, those are underfunded too. So they match the football program, the facilities, the gym room, and all of that kind of stuff for the football program isn't that great. Well, you know what? The chemistry labs ain't that great either. So, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into the decision for all these kids to go there. It's not always just about the top 5, top 10 kids. It's them, the top 200. You want to get more kids to come into your program, you got to be able to offer more than just the football program. You know what I mean?
The thing about with football, it's going to take more than just 1 or 2 players anyway. If you say a basketball team, you get about 1 or 2 good players. You could change a program around. Football, you're gonna need about 22 good players in order to change a program like it around. And think about they have been on television. Matter of fact, I was just watching the Southern and Grambling State game last night. That was on TV. It was on CBS Sports. Way down on the line, you got to have the special sports package in order to watch it. But it was on TV, and they was on the NFL Network for a while, showing some of these HBCU games, as well as I know if you want to check it out, like on ESPN Plus, ESPN West, they show them on there sometimes. So they get little pub. They just not getting the lot of the lower class HBCUs. You're gonna have your Jacksonville State or your Jackson State. They'll show them. They'll show you Grambling, your Southern. But will they show you Alcorns? Will they show you Howards? Will they show them other schools that's not on a high level as far as
You
HBCU
don't need
football?
to see Howard football on TV, dog. You don't need to see Howard football on TV. Like,
But yeah, I went
my
to an
boy,
HBCU, and
yeah, my
I
boy
just
is
I
a
don't think.
Hampton guy.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
I went.
and it
I
just,
think
man, they've been beating on Howard for about 20 years, dog. You don't need to see that ugliness, man.
yeah, man. They just need to think outside of the box, man. Because it's like they have a lot of traditional. Me going there and just seeing how it works. You have a lot of traditional money, and they don't want to budge to allocate funding to
Yeah,
more
yeah,
modernized things that are going to bring in, because like technology is king right now. And it's like, if you don't have a YouTube channel as a university, that's one thing. I feel like every HBCU should have a YouTube channel, not a YouTube of students filming their perspective of college, you promoting your college on the YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? I think they should have one. That's one way. Of course, an Instagram channel. Of course, they need to be more active in that way, because the traditional means of recruiting, like just flying a couple people out to recruit some students at a high school, like you got to get them other ways now.
And it is not like going to a HBCU campus is a bad thing, bro. Like that's the thing that always gets me is like, if you're gonna recruit against the PWIs, man, you got to play up the whole experience, bro. You got to make sure that man walk past the band. You got to make sure he's on the yard. You got to make sure he go out to whatever frat house he's gonna go to. You got to make sure he get the whole experience, man. But I don't know if they're getting that or not, man. Jackson State seems to really be capped. They sold out, I think, the last 3 games. Their last 3 home games, I believe they sold out. Like it's a thing down there now, man. But the thing I heard about was they're trying to do a merger between the 2 big HBCU football conferences, the SWAC and the MEAC. Now that would be cool. That would be very cool to see Jackson State playing Howard or FAMU every year, bro. And
They need to do that. They need to
see, that's the
combine some
thing.
conferences. They need to get everybody under one umbrella. That way they can advertise it better. I think it's all just about
Definitely.
People can't even name you. I bet you there's people can't even name a lot of the HBCUs that play just because they're not really popular like that. It's one of those things where if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. Everybody knows Notre Dame. Not everybody really knows Jackson State like that. I bet you a lot of people didn't know about Jackson State before Deion Sanders got there, that's for sure. So people might have known about Grambling just because they're the best team, but even them, they're kind of flying under the radar. And as soon as they play, one of these other Power 5 schools, they get trounced. So it's one of those things where so many things have to happen, and they're going to need some alumni support. A lot of these schools, their endowment is so crazy that they're able to pay for better facilities, better training staffs, better weight room, new turf on the field, all these kinds of things, because they have so much alumni participation. They got so much tuition. Their tuition is what it is. So it's a lot of things that play into it. And it's not even necessarily just the football. It's the entire endowment that the school has.
Wow.
Yeah,
Stop
that's the
playing.
way. Yeah,
Just happened?
yeah. Well, I don't know if it
Damn.
just happened, but it's starting to hit the headlines right now. That's crazy.
Wow.
I'm not hip. Who is that? I'm sorry.
That's
Virgil. That's the guy that's like the
work
creative
with Kanye West
director for Louis. For Louis,
for Louis.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I never knew nothing was wrong with him.
Man, I mean, so many people suffering in silence, yo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Uh, Black Panther.
Yeah,
Nobody knew.
yeah. They said that he had cancer. He was born up in 1980.
Same age as me. That's crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Damn,
And his life was just beginning, yo.
I know.
Yeah.
Man, prayers go out to him and his family, man.
Absolutely.
Mm.
I thought I was just seeing something. I mean, it's starting to hit the. That's crazy. I had no idea. But you're absolutely right about people suffering, and we not even know, man. That's why it's
In silence, man. These screens go off, yo, and real life kick right back in, man. You know what I'm saying? Real life kick right back in. Them phone calls, you could be a king on here, man. Smiling, happy. This could be like therapy. The minute you cut this off, man, it's, you know.
Some people go in that dark place, like you said. Man.
damn.
But another thing with real quick with the HBCUs, another thing I think they need to do, like where I'm at down here, man, like Don Staley, USC done rolled out the red carpet for Don Staley, man. I'm like, why wasn't it a HBCU? Why didn't one of them go after one of those retired WNBA players like, yo, revamp our women's basketball program or our men's basketball program? You know what I
That's
mean?
the
Like
crazy thing. Like that's a sport where you can compete immediately. You know
They
what I'm
can't
saying?
afford it.
That's
These HBCUs, they can't afford it. They don't got the money. They don't got the alumni donations. You know what I mean? They don't have the, some of these TV deals. A lot of these places, let's look at Notre Dame. There's really nothing special about Notre Dame's history the last 30 years when it comes to football. They've had some successful teams. They've had some guys that we know, Brady Quinn and stuff like that, but they don't even really have a lot of players that get drafted that we can name like that. Jimmy Graham, Brady Quinn. I mean, who else has there really been that, we could say, yeah, Notre Dame is, they that team. Yet and still, they got a crazy amount of alumni involvement. They got crazy facilities. They're some of the top recruiting classes every single year. They're like top 10. So it's got to be something to it that's more than just football. They got one of the best academic programs. It's a hard school to get into otherwise. And so all that stuff plays
I
into
tried.
it.
I failed.
Yeah. I mean, I think back when I was in high school, only one dude went to Notre Dame. He was a valedictorian. So, it's not like an easy situation to get into on its own. So I feel like all of that plays into the success of the football program because their alumni is so crazy. They have a ton of participation. They got boosters everywhere. Where HBCUs, they really don't have those things as far as I know. They have a great history in terms of the culture, but they don't have it in terms of the actual resources and facilities to be able to take a kid who can go anywhere. You're going to take them away from all these Power Fives and then bring them here to try to help them change the culture when really they're looking out for themselves. They're looking out for their draft capital. They're looking out for their likeness, money, all this stuff. You know what I mean? And so the HBCUs really got to do a lot to attract some of these places. And I think they got to first try to iron out some TV deals. That way they can generate some income to increase their facilities, to be more attractive. Then they got to really push on their alumni to participate. You said that they sold out. I think Jackson State sold out their last
Yeah,
game.
they sold
They
out
need
the
to be
last.
they
Yeah.
need to be selling out every game, the whole season, the way they do in Tuscaloosa. You know what I mean? Alabama is not known for anything other than football, and yet they're able to sustain because of their football program. They ain't got no academics. Their campus isn't all that great. Their student body ain't the smartest people as far as if you go and look online. And yet and
No.
still, they have a ton of alumni donations. They have a ton of alumni participation. They have a great history of football excellence, so they're able to double down on that. And I think that the HBCUs, schools like Howard and things like that, they need to find the niche that they're able to advertise to and then just try to keep doubling down on. And it's going to take a while. It's going to take, a change in our thinking culturally before anything else.
It's going to take a change in treatment. It's going to take, speaking from the point of view of a person that went to a HBCU, I didn't feel great about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even though I enjoyed the experience because I was coming from New York to the South, and it was kind of like a culture shock for me, really. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen that many niggas in my life. You know what I'm saying? So it was really, it was really a culture shock. But I loved it. But I loved everything else. As far as the school itself, it put me through a lot, put a lot of people through a lot. And I hear that from every other university, the South Carolina States, the Howards. You go down to Atlanta, the Clark Atlanta's, Morehouse, Morris Brown they not even accredited anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to take a few different generations of good experiences where you want to pour back into it. You know what I mean? If you feel like you escaped, if you felt like it was prison, like, damn, I got out of there. You know what I mean? I did it. If you feel like you get
Just
out of
the
prison
dorms.
after graduating.
Wasn't it one of the HBCUs? I want to say it might have been Morehouse or something like that, where they had to protest. Yeah, they had to protest the dorms. So how do you get a top 20, football player? Let's just say he a left tackle. You know what I mean? Something that really don't even matter. How do you get that dude to come to your school and they come to visit and they see a rat run out your dorm? That's not gonna help. No, that doesn't help anybody do anything. So you worried about the football program. Your school is teetering on collapse. So they got a whole lot of work to do. It's gonna be more than Deion Sanders.
I remember I had an opportunity. I was being recruited by Tennessee State, and I don't know if y'all know anything about Kentucky, but Kentucky State is another HBCU. And I was being recruited by them schools, and I almost went to Tennessee State just because Richard Dent went there. And I was a big Richard Dent fan. That was my favorite player for the Birds. And I almost ended up going there, but I didn't, just because I knew if I come here, I'm going to be partying. I ain't going to get my education. There's no way I'm going to come out with no damn degree going to this school. I mean, that's just what it was. Because when you think of HBCUs back in 95, it was a party place. We going to party, have a good time.
Well, now in Jackson State, they're lucky as shit. They got Deion Sanders. I mean, you got the best ever cornerback to coach you. That is amazing. And that's a dream come true if you think about it.
And I think Jackson State is one of those schools though that are making those strides even before they got Deion. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they had to pull him in. They had to have something to pull him in. If he went there and he saw rats running out the dorm and mold and what I'm saying, like, come on. You know what I mean? So
that's what I'm saying. Even the meal plan inside the dorm. You know what I mean? If you go to some of these schools now, they got personal chefs up in the dorm. They got
every college
vegan options. They got all kinds of stuff. I haven't been to any kind of HBCU in the last 5 years. I really don't know. But
they invested in hell.
Yeah, it's hard to compare some of these, smaller schools with not as much student body to a big school like Clemson, you know what I mean? Or a school like even the University of Illinois, which is a notoriously transfer school, like kids who are not playing at Florida, they go to Illinois to play. It's hard to compete with their facilities because they have so much going into the program financially.
280 years of backing would do that for you. But that's on us too, because you think about it, essentially we have sent our best athletes to white schools, like Michael Jordan to North Carolina. We had Anthony Davis to Kentucky. We have never sent our black kids, especially our best of our best, to HBCUs to make those brands bigger. So it's really on our shoulders for not building up the black community when it comes to that aspect of like.
But yeah, you say that you want to always put your child in the best opportunity. And if it's HBCU, I will. But if it's not, I'm going to send my son wherever he's going to have his best opportunity to be the best version of himself.
Exactly.
And if it's HBCU, I'm cool with that. But if it's not, and if it's one of these predominantly white schools we talked about, then I will send my son there, and I will watch him do his best and get the best out of him.
It's asking a lot to tell parents and the player to almost sacrifice what your potential could be for the greater good of the culture, at least these days.
Yeah.
There's so much.
And so
I wouldn't dumb down my child for that opportunity like that. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Right.
It'd be hard. It'd be a hard ask for me to ask somebody else to do another parent to do the same. You know.
Right.
well, at the end of the day, we have to take some strides to better our own community. And if we don't get the benefit, who else gets the benefit? You know what I mean? The white people do. If we really think about it, the white school system, the white structure, they get the benefit of our black kids. So I understand what you're saying. You know, send your kids to the best opportunities, but we have to, especially as black men, the problem is we have to create a patriarchy in our community so where our men know where to go because men are directing and leading them.
And it's experiences.
And once you get that patriarchy back in the community, because if we really get down to the nitty gritty of it, men should be directing everything in the black community like every other group of men in every other community too. White men direct white men, Asian men direct Asian communities. They all direct their own communities. It's our time to direct our own damn communities with our own standards.
Yeah,
And
man,
it's about experiences, man. You know, like
Experience with your own people that you can grow with.
a lot of people are looking for that, unfortunately, though. Like, case in example, or whatever, right? So my niece and my nephew are a year apart. My nephew, he was a pretty good kid academically, but he got a full academic ride to Mizzou. He could have done a better. Could have went to a better university. He ain't want to work that hard. You know what I'm saying? He ain't wanna work that hard. But my niece got a perfect score on the ACT, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, she chose Howard.
Congratulations to her, man.
Harvard and Yale, bro.
Wait, you said repeat that last part, bro. I was writing it down.
She got a perfect score in the ACT, and she chose Howard over Yale and Harvard. And the problem is that when we came down there to move her in, the dorm room wasn't ready. It was a leak in one of the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was all these logistical issues that could have, been dealt with years ago, but for whatever reason they weren't. And not only, and when you going back talking about who needs that experience and who doesn't, I think it depends on the kid. They both grew up in a very white suburban area. She felt she needed the experience. My nephew did. It's funny too, because you remember they had all that craziness going on at Missouri a couple of years ago with all the racism stuff on the campus. He was a freshman that year. Now, I had one of them my nephew was one of them dudes. He light skinned. He didn't know he was black until he was black. He found out he was black when he got down there.
Yeah. Oh, he had that OJ in it.
He came back and listened to a Tribe Called Quest and Public Enemy after one semester, bro. And he didn't have to go to an HBCU to do that, though. But
then he became militant.
Yeah. But and in the case of my niece bypassed what I guess you would call better opportunities to go do the whole I want to be at a black school, and how she was rewarded was subpar facilities. You know what I mean? And an administration that wasn't very fluid in dealing with it. So I think it's going to always come down to, like somebody said, experiences. It's going to come down to what experience you're looking for, and if that experience actually matches up to your expectation.
I tell you, like down at Morehouse, they was having issues. I mean,
you're right.
Buddy, about his son, he had to stay that. I'm just talking about this past year. They had to stay in a hotel. Their dorms wasn't ready. They was constructing new dorms, and their dorms wasn't ready. He had to stay in a hotel for like 3 weeks before his dorm was ready.
Yeah, my niece had to do the same thing. She did her first month at a hotel.
Come on,
that's pitiful, man. You can't do that. His school, look, it wasn't like he owed money. His school was paid for by an NBA player. You know what I'm saying? Paid for. So they had all that money up front. There's no excuse. I should have a dorm room.
Period. Let's go, Falcons. Way to cover my spread for me. Oh yeah.
Well, peace and love to y'all. I gotta make moves. Great conversation. I look forward to seeing y'all next week.
All right, Kyle, hold it down, man.
All right, Kyle, for sure. Take care of yourself, big brother.
Yep. Y'all stay safe out here.
You too.
No doubt, bro.
The main problem is that nobody ever want to talk about is that at the end of the day, like I was having a conversation with my father. He was having this probably like a week ago because he's 70 years old, and his dad, he was born in 1917. Different generation. My dad was born in 1952, and learning. Basically, we have to put ourselves back on top. That's the only way for anything to ever improve, because men pay bills. We build, we construct, we give decisions without emotions, and us men are literally like, hey, listen, I got to go put this motherfucking school together. Is you with me? Or is you with me? And it's easier to get 10 men together on one goal than it is on 10 women.
But see, the thing is, these are shared experiences. Like what Hank was just describing about the dorm not being ready. These are shared experiences. I have friends that went to other HBCUs in other areas, and our stories were common.
Who works
You know
in
what I'm
those?
saying?
Who works in those positions in those admissions office? Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Who works there? So every single time you call that
political. That's political.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. And you have older Black people who have been getting some really good money for a really long time, and they're super overpaid and they're doing very little work. You know what I mean? Like you have the grunt workers, and then you have the hierarchy that are getting the bag, and they're not putting a lot into what really needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the leaks, the infestations, the mold, etc. You know, it's happening. Speak to any person
What's weird
that went to a
about it is,
HBCU.
what's weird about it is a lot of those people from that generation think that's acceptable, and that's some type of weird ass rite of passage you're supposed to experience going through that process. Look, man, when I went to U of I.
Why though?
And when I tell you the dorms and the experience up here, bro, that wasn't a college. That was a vacation retreat, bro.
Mm-hmm.
With some of the facilities we had, the gym, the student gym, not the gym for the D1 basketball players and the football players. The gym for the regular students probably would put an HBCU's athletic department tuition here with personal trainers and brand new equipment. So I guess it does always come back to money, but it's just people's experience, man. It's people's. Okay, if I want to go here and experience this, or do I want to go here and experience that? And people always gonna want the path of least resistance, man.
Or what if you're looking to invest, but you don't trust the people that's going to be allocating the money? Are you going to put your bread up and invest in something where you don't trust the person managing the money and the allocation of the money? You know, it's tough. You don't feel comfortable with that.
Are we talking about our own people then? Because that's the only people we're really giving money to when it talks about building up our own people. Is our own people.
I mean, we're talking about our own people. You know, it goes back to experiences. What do you hear about? I mean, this is going in a whole direction off of sports, but experiences. What did I experience during that period of time when I dealt with that particular situation? Was it pleasurable? What did I get from it? And would I go back, or would I send more people there? Yeah, check that out. Enjoy that. No, I wouldn't necessarily do that. You know, I used to go to another university down the street and just chill out on their campus. You know, see kids throwing frisbees, grass is green, grass is mowed. You know, and I would be like, damn, son, it's like a whole nother world. It's like what I see on college movies. You know, when you see those college movies,
really is real.
That's what it looks like.
It really
it's
is
like
real.
Night and day.
When I was at Grand Valley, bro, and I was playing football, that shit, my apologies for my language, but it was just like, I'm not gonna lie, a school full of white people, and everything was just so clean and just relaxing. The mood was just set. I was literally walking around, bro, seeing white women, nice bodies, you know, 5'4", 125, 30 pounds, just on the grass studying. The shit really is real. Like, I thought that was a lie. But
no, man. And look, you know what was wild, and I think this kind of speaks to my frustration. It's kind of why one of the reasons I left coaching high school basketball, dealing with these irrational children, bro. I had who is old school basketball? Who's old school? Come on. But you remember Leon Smith? You remember they drafted KG, and I think it was 97. And then they came back. The Mavericks had got Leon Smith. He was the next one.
That sounds so familiar.
I coached his nephew in 8th grade, bro. The kid was 6'3", 250 in 8th grade.
God, Jesus Christ.
He
8th
wound
grade?
up being 6'6", 240. Was playing here in the city, and I had him ready to go down to, I think it was Alcorn State wanted to take a look at him. They wanted to bring him down for a visit. He looked me dead in the eye and told me, I think he was going to go to a junior college in the city. That was not. It was in Chicago. It was outside the suburbs of Chicago. He said, I want to go there because they got all the white chicks. And I'm like, bro, you got a school down here that's willing to pay every dime for your education. And you about to go to junior college because they got the white chicks, bro. But you think about that, though.
You want some of that tinted pink, baby.
Well,
you wanted that tinted pink.
What I learned, especially from the men in my generation, my father's generation, he said that basically when you go to college, you're basically looking at the most intelligent, it should be emotionally aware women at the college. So if you're picking from those group of women, you should be A-okay. That's what my pops told my sisters. Y'all better find some husbands while y'all in college around the best group of men you're around until you get back into the world and you struggling. And that's what both my sisters did. They found them some husbands at University of Michigan. So the best thing to do is really find you a girl while you're in college, because she gonna understand your struggle too. Well, if she come from your struggle, you know what I'm saying. But why is all our black athletes going after white women? That's a good question. That is a good question, because if you watch the NBA draft and the NFL draft the last 5 years, ain't gonna lie, it's been full of white women. Remember that white lady that hugged her boyfriend that was a defensive tackle and her mom grabbed her and threw her off on the national TV?
Yeah.
It's just shit. Why? That's crazy. I do see a lot of my brothers really going after the white chicks. That shit crazy.
I don't know. It's culture. What's good, Yellow, man? What's good, yeah?
What's good, y'all? I don't know if everybody can hear me. I can't really hear everybody in the chat, but what's going on, fellas?
Some more water.
Chilling, man.
The topic kind of tailed off a little bit before I can kind of get in. I had a kind of a little something to say about like the HBCUs, and it's kind of tying into that. Okay. I was thinking maybe if the one thing I don't notice about the HBCUs is that they don't schedule like properly. That's what I was saying in the chat. So if you think of some schools like my favorite example is always Appalachian State. Appalachian State is usually like the first or second team that somebody play on their schedule every year. You know what I'm saying? And they might scrape Appalachian State by like 40 points or something like that. But it's a reason why we know Appalachian State exists.
Wait.
You know what I'm saying? They uniforms stay fine. They always getting the exposure. And then when they turn around and they beat, I forgot who they beat a couple years ago, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? They turn around and beat Michigan the other year ago. There you go. Like, these HBCUs got good teams and they got good players and they got talent and coaching to beat these higher level schools, but you just don't never see them play. And that's a quick way to get that exposure. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. If you Jackson State, and like you say, you got Deion Sanders next year, schedule an Oklahoma.
No.
You know what I mean? Schedule like a U of I, a Big Ten school, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Something to kind of get that program kind of seen more. You know what I mean? And I know one thing with.
Well, the thing about that, when you talk about scheduling, a lot of these BCS schools, as they used to be called, they're not going to do it no more because there's no benefit for them.
They're too big anyway.
No, there's no benefit for them because, they're going to go on your strength of schedule. And some of these conferences who's already have a weak conference schedule already has to score a schedule against these bigger conference teams. They can't afford that. Like, I give you an example, the Big 12. The Big 12 is so watered down now. They done brought in everybody under the sun just to try to pull numbers for the Big 12. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they can't afford to schedule, like you said, an Appalachian State or Jackson State, because that's not going to do but water down their strength of schedule even more. So they got to go outside and get one of these other lower level BCS teams to at least try to up their schedule and make it look good just for the numbers.
It's like a lottery.
And schools are going to get left out because of that.
When you play at a school like LSU, bro, and
I can understand that. It'll just be like, I guess, I don't know. You'll have to take that chance and go to because like if we look at like the BCS every year, I mean, you know, you got the Ohio State, you got the Alabama, stuff like that. Maybe you take, because I know the HBCUs don't want to take no L's, but you might have to just go ahead and, because Alabama don't mind playing them little teams because it don't matter with them. You know what I'm saying? Just off name alone, if they win enough games, they gonna be in the BCS.
But
Same thing with like
what's the
the
point of
conference
putting these
they in.
kids out there if they're gonna get blown
right.
out regardless?
That's, you know what I'm saying, and just the name alone, you know what I'm saying. We didn't seen it the last couple of years. We didn't seen it the last couple of years. It's a 2 or 3 loss team in the top 5 in the playoffs, and it's a undefeated team right there in the top 10 with them that probably should be there. You know what I'm saying? So these schools, a lot of these top schools ain't gonna take that big a hit playing a Jackson State. Now you can't run a Howard out there like you said. You know what I'm saying? You can't run one of the lower level HBCUs. But yeah, you run a Southern or a Grambling, one of these known schools out there, it'll generate something. You know what I'm saying? It'll generate something. It'll get them in the conversation. I equate it to like Boise State. And I keep bringing up Oklahoma, but when Boise State had that run, it was about 10 years ago, and they beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, bro. That was the biggest win of the college football season. That win was bigger than the national championship, and that win put Boise State in position to get in a higher conference. Because now I think they in I can't remember what conference they in, but they in a higher conference now.
Well, you got to understand.
You know, so I don't know. It is maybe winning brings funding for schools. Attention brings funding for schools. You got to get in there one way or the other.
When you're talking about bowl schedules and you're talking about designing the college playoff schedules, you have to determine every team from the strength of schedule. So if that team is playing low-ranked HBCUs, they have a less chance of getting in college playoffs when it's already, what is it, 300? No, it is 1,241 schools and over 300 in D1. So you have to take strength of schedule into it. And then regardless, these black schools has only been around for 90 years, and University of Michigan has been around since 1815. And they've been playing football there, since 1942. So you got to understand that these schools they can give these kids scholarships and private planes and shit that we can't even think of. I played at the big house at University of Michigan at a recruit meeting there. And when I tell you it was life-changing, just playing in that field, it's just too much. It's too much money in those big schools for HBCUs to try to face them. They have to bring talent in, and that starts with the black parents. Hey, let's just be honest. I'm 6'3", 230. I played outside linebacker. I wish I would have went to a HBCU. Agreed. But I went to the burb schools. That's just what we sending our best to the burbs. We got to stop that shit.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I gray shirted at Eastern Illinois right out of high school.
I know exactly where you was at.
Down south, and I should have went down south, bro.
Mm-hmm. In that good ass heat, sweating and shit with a 6-pack, relaxing and shit with all the other black honeys down there in Georgia. Relax.
It was almost like it, though. Everybody on the roster was from Florida. I couldn't understand anybody. Yep. Everything go keep around.
Dog, them Florida. Oh my God, bro. Them Florida niggas is wild, bro.
It was like that when
DBs don't give a fuck. I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. Florida DBs don't give a fuck. They are about the shits, whatever, wherever. Stay out of Florida. If you play DB down south, I'm straight, bro. You too crazy for me because I already know what you be into. You probably hit licks on Saturday.
It was like that when I was at Murray State. That's where I played at.
Ooh,
and we had a lot of cats from Arkansas, West Memphis. So we had a lot of them cats down there, and like you said, they was good enough to play on that major D1 level, but they chose to, or their grades or whatever other reasons why.
Them grades.
Yeah, they ended up there,
That's
so.
A question. Okay, the NFL is planning on extending the league by 4 teams by 2025. I don't know if y'all read the reports. I'm really big into sports betting, so, every single day, that's what I do. And they need about 197 kids. Oh, yeah, the game. Hell yeah. The Giants. Yep. I knew the Giants and the Eagles, I bet under 46.5 because, I couldn't see where 46 points was going to come from Daniel Jones and and Zach Ertz.
That makes
Damn.
sense.
I couldn't see it.
Damn, Jay. Damn, Jay.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
JR,
It's
put
looking
that
bad
back up
for
one more
us here.
time. That was the truth right there. I want to see the scores again. I got it, man. So how do y'all think about if you had to name the generation or the best quarterback of our generation is Aaron Rodgers?
Right.
That's how I feel.
Oh, I think he's the most talented. I don't know if he's the best.
The Tom Brady. That man got 7 rings. That
I
says he's the
can't go
best.
against the rings, man. I can't go against the rings.
I can beat your whole argument, right? I study a lot of football, and Aaron Rodgers had a top 5 defense in his career twice out of his 18 luxurious career, right? Tom Brady had a top 5 defense 8 times. So 7 times he won the Super Bowl, he had a top 5 defense. So Tom Brady in the Ravens era, remember when he won it? When he came in for Drew Bledsoe that year? The Patriots had a top 3 defense next to the Ravens and the Steelers. And we all know Ray Lewis and Ed Reed had historic runs where they only allowed teams to score less than 10 points in 10 straight games. So if you have that legendary defense next to you with Dante Hightower and the rest of them boys, because you remember Patriots defense was stoked with them killers back in the day. With all you needed was a perfect game manager in Tom Brady. And then we can break up the deflate gate and multiple things where he done fucked up.
I mean, tomato, bro. Like
that does count on your record
even
if
after
deflating balls.
I mean, come on, man. Like, it's almost like they're nitpicking. They're like, hey, man, you ain't win as good as he did. Like, no, this dude went out there when we hoped he lost and won, except against my Giants. I got to put that 2 up there.
Oh, yeah. I love Eli Manning for that. Shout out to Eli Manning, bro, for saving the game right there, boy, 2 times in a row.
But I mean, yeah, I would say I would agree with that assessment as far as Aaron Rodgers being more talented because he's more mobile, he's more complete, and he's
more accurate.
Done that for a long period of time,
And it's not even that. Tom Brady. You take away Tom Brady's problems where he had to go to court and all that shit. He'll lose 3 out of 7 of his rings. That's damn near 50%. In my humble opinion, that's a problem.
You said times where he needed to go to court.
I think that, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback. He's the best ever quarterback ever in NFL history. His touchdown to his touchdown to interception ratio, I think, is 5-1. It's the highest ever in NFL history. You have never seen a more accurate quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. I promise you that. Even Patrick Mahomes in his first 4 years will never. Aaron Rodgers' MVP year will be 10 times better than Patrick Mahomes' MVP year. And I can break it down statistically that Aaron Rodgers' MVP year, he went 36-3. I mean, no, he was 36-5, my bad. So 35 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. That's unheard of.
But you just going about on them nice little statistics alone. But man, the most important statistic is the W's and the L's, man. At the end of the day, that's the most important.
Okay.
That the wins and losses the most important statistic.
We're not talking about basketball. We talking about football. That's 11 man.
I'm talking about football, dog. This man has won 7 Super Bowls, dog.
The defense got to stop somebody. If the offense can
we
score,
got to come to terms with it, man.
We got to accept 7 rings.
We got to accept.
Let me tell you this: Aaron Rodgers had his opportunity when he played the 49ers, and he looked like shit last time. In the NFC Championship game, he cried for a home field advantage game, and he got it, and he looked like shit, man.
That was his defense.
Like shit against Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo's is trash.
Bro, if you don't remember that game well, Aaron Rodgers marched them down in 2 minutes, and it was like 3 minutes and 47 seconds left. It was 22, I think 20, and then they scored and they made it 27-22. But they would have never scored if the defense would have stepped up. But they was 9th in the league last year when they was in the NC.
So please answer me this: why did he run the ball? When he had opportunity to run in for a touchdown, he didn't run it in. He decided to throw it.
He did. He did.
So that
Yeah.
right there, that's more bad decision making by a quarterback who you think is the best of all time. You can have him. Give me that goat. Give me that goat every time.
I mean,
Yeah,
if we're
and,
talking game winning drives, then Tom Brady's.
I was just gonna say, I
Walk
can't
to
go with Aaron Rodgers just because he on the Packers. I don't care how good he is. You know what I'm saying? I'm too low to my Bears to even try to put him up there. He
You
good though.
said
Like he
Bears?
definitely in the top 3. But you know, it's like we fought so hard and fought against giving Tom Brady his flowers. Man, come on, man. This dude probably gonna do what he doing for the next 10 years, man. You know what I'm saying? He ain't
3
slowing
more.
down. That's the scary part.
I'll give him
Usually
3 more
athletes in
years.
his age, and you know what I'm saying, you see Rodgers slowing down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You can see some of the younger dudes slowing down a little bit. It's crazy
Bro,
because Tom Brady just keep getting better,
he
man.
threw 5
He
interceptions
just
in the
keep
last
getting
3
better, bro. That's
games.
scary. That's scary.
Tom Brady threw 2 interceptions against the Saints, and then doubled it back with another 2-piece against Washington. And then today he just threw another interception against the Colts. He got 5 interceptions in 3 games. What are you talking about, bro? This man has never threw damn near 5 interceptions in 3 straight games. He literally just threw a deep right corner bomb and it got picked off by old boy in the right corner. Tom Brady looking pretty scary right now. I mean, shit. I mean, you throwing multiple interceptions in a game? That's some decision making.
you're on mute,
Muted,
man.
big bro.
You're on
Bro, you
mute,
mute
man.
yourself.
Oh,
Big
my
dog.
bad, bro. You talking about a guy who took a team that was 8-8 and just won a Super Bowl just last year.
Damn, they did. They was 8, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I know you might have a disdain for Tom Brady.
No,
I
I
don't
love
like
him.
him, but I
love him, man.
respect him. I
I got his
respect
jersey.
that dude. You gotta respect that man.
I do respect him. I feel like I just understand that when I look at the statistics and the way both of them play, and I'd rather start a team with Aaron Rodgers than Tom Brady. Because if I put Aaron Rodgers in the same situations that Tom Brady in, he probably would have never lost it. He probably would have never lost to the Giants. If we being honest, because I know Aaron Rodgers in a championship game would have threw more than 14 points. I think it was 14-17. And then it was
Yeah, you
23.
talking about the
Which one?
Super
Which one
Bowl
was it?
with the
The
Giants? You
first
talking
one or
about?
the second one?
I think the first one, it was the helmet catch with
Kyrie.
Yeah, that was 14-17.
Yep. And then what was the second one? I think it was 23-17 again. I might be mistaken.
Yeah. 20-17 maybe.
Let me say this, man. Aaron Rodgers has never made a comeback like New England with Tom Brady did against Atlanta. He has never done that before.
Oh yeah, that shit was
Nobody has.
That
I'm
was
sorry. I
terrible.
can't say any. I
That
said
was
nobody has.
crazy.
Nobody has. That was the only time. So, man, this man is
You're
making
right as
history.
fuck. You're right. You're so right.
He's making history. And he's going to continue to make a history because this dude feel like he could play to 50. Now, I don't know about that part, but he damn sure looking good doing what he's doing. He
Whatever
might be
health
struggling right
regimen.
now. They gonna get it together.
They is.
Yeah,
You're
whoever
right, bro.
taking care of dude is on point. I equate this conversation to and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna go ahead and head out, fellas. I equate this conversation to the issue I was having with Kobe, RIP Kobe. It was at a point in time where we didn't want to admit Kobe was as good as he was and as great as he was, especially if you grew up watching Mike. You know what I'm saying? But it was a point in time in his last 5 to 6 years when the world was just like, you know what, he that dude. You know what I'm saying? He that dude. We're going to have to give him his flowers now. You know what I mean? He is as good as advertised. You know what I mean? We hated him so much because he was tearing our teams apart. You know what I mean? Like that commercial, the Nike commercial, the year he retired with the I hate you when they was all, you know what I'm saying? When he was orchestrating the crowd, man, you got to give that level of respect, man. And I mean, and one of my favorite football players is Walter Payton. So, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to get past that. Man, Tom Brady, the greatest dude ever touch a football, man. Straight up.
And that's the thing, man. You build respect for a lot of these dudes by your disdain for what they're doing to your team. You know what I mean? You kind of just shake your head and be like, man, I can't stand, Jordan couldn't stand Jordan, couldn't stand Kobe, but in reality, you kind of like salute them. Mayweather, how many people were sitting up there praying, come on, dog, this dude, he got him. He got him. You see his punching power. Mayweather ain't never feel no punching power like this. And Mayweather would take somebody that you have the ultimate respect for and make them look like a kindergartner, in that boxing ring.
No cap.
somebody that you like, he got him. He will make them look infantile in there, man.
No
You know what I'm
cap.
saying? Give him like 6 rounds of just dancing around, let him punch himself out a little bit. 6th round, he pot shotting them. You like, oh, you know what I'm saying? You watching your hero get slapped around like, you know what I mean? So you earn respect. Everybody watched the Mayweather fights. Yeah, he going down, but you earn respect in the midst of, you know, yeah.
No, I was gonna say, man, thanks fellas for having me on, man. I'm gonna go and dip out real quick. I just wanted to get in and say what's up, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day, man.
You too,
You
big
too,
homie.
bro.
Right on, big brother. Right on.
Hold it down.
So I gotta ask you a question. In our generation, who's better, Kobe or LeBron?
Me personally, I always go with scoring wise, Kobe is better. As a complete basketball player, I give it to LeBron. You know what I mean? Because Kobe is give me the ball, I'm making the shot. LeBron is I'm going to get it to the best possible opportunity to win the game. You know, Kobe is like, nah, I'm winning the game. Y'all just move out the way. I'm about to win the game. LeBron is, I'm going to dance on him. Once I draw the double team, you going to win the game. You know, he's making the best basketball play. So,
But can I ask you a question, though? If we're talking about the best basketball play, then that'll be Kobe beating Bryant, just for the simple fact that when you get down to championship rounds and series, especially Jordan, Tim Duncan, and all the other great other teams that tell you, you need a closer. So regardless of whatever you're talking about, you can be the best player you is, but if you're passing this ball to a role player that's 3 for 10 and you just passing it to him because he's just open. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to take some control on the court. And shit, I mean, if we're designing a team, I'd rather take Kobe than LeBron.
I mean, are you trying to be the closer or are you trying to win the game?
Kobe went. What? You know who got more rings, right?
Are you? I mean, of course. I mean, come on, Doug. Of course. But what I'm saying is, are you trying to be the closer? Are you trying to be the one that takes every shot at the end of the game, or are you trying to win the game, make the best play to win the game, to get the W?
Well, me playing basketball for a lot of my life, I can understand that even making the right play is really not the right fucking play. And it honestly, in crunch time, you give it to the most dominant with the best moves, because I understand that isolation situations, tight games, one-on-ones, you got to be able to close out. So I understand where you're coming from. LeBron James is one of the best facilitators ever, but LeBron James doesn't know his role well. If we're talking about men that just know their role.
Let me say this, man. Sometimes you can let your pride get in the way where you're forcing shots where you shouldn't be taking them, and you need to sometimes defer. And that's the thing about Kobe. He never really liked to defer. You know what I'm saying? It was him and him only. And if I'm going to take a shot, I'm taking a shot. Well, you see like Michael Jordan, he realized, hey, this ain't a good shot. Paxson, I need for you to knock this down. Kerr, I need for you to knock this down. You know, LeBron's going to do the same thing. Ray Allen, I need for you to knock this down. Mike Miller, I need for you to knock this down. So
that was different. Michael Jordan was getting double teamed in situations where he needed to pass the ball to an outlet. LeBron James
wouldn't pass it though.
Exactly. Kobe would shoot over that double team.
Yes, Kobe will force it.
Okay, let's bring this up. Right?
Melo would shoot over that triple team.
Man, Steph Curry versus LeBron James,
especially
top of the
Denver,
key, game 1. Y'all remember this shit? The infamous LeBron James did this in the picture and shit to J.R. Smith. Remember, LeBron James had Steph Curry ISO'd at the top of the key with 11 seconds left, and he passed to a cutting George Hill, and he missed the free throw. See, a great player would just say, fuck the cut. I got Steph Curry on me. I'm 6'9", he's 6'2". Let's play ball these last 9 seconds. They're all in isolation situations. It was a 5-out, and LeBron James had him at the top of the key. He still passed it to the right person, and it wasn't the best move for the team. Sometimes you just have to be dominant to say, fuck y'all, I'm putting everything on my shoulders, and I'm gonna live with the results because I'm gonna take the last shot. Bro, you muted yourself again, big homie.
Mute.
Hey, bro, you muted yourself again, bro. Bro, you muted yourself.
Oh, damn. the reason why LeBron was doing that gesture because JR was going the wrong way when we needed the shot. JR, I don't know what JR was thinking about. He was confused,
JR
thinking
was
we was up.
lost.
We was down. They was down that game. And he's like, man, what are you doing? You see the score? We need this point. You running the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
Was
Yeah,
good,
but
chaotic.
that's
How you
shitty
doing?
coaching. That's shitty coaching, and honestly, I that's one thing I feel so
I
bad
don't
for
think that's
LeBron
coach.
James.
That was a bad decision making by JR.
No,
To me,
the
how's
coach
that
can still
coaching?
call timeout. He can stop the play. You
They didn't
tell
have
me Phil
timeouts.
Jackson
They
would
didn't
never
have
call
any
a timeout?
timeouts. They didn't have
They
it.
did have it. You talking about Cleveland when
No, they had
JR
one left. They
got
had
the
one left.
rebound? Nah, they had a timeout because
They
that's
had
why
one left,
LeBron
bro.
was
They had
pissed.
one left.
If you remember, he was sitting on the bench and
He said,
LeBron had that outburst. Yeah, he was like, "What? We had a timeout? We had a timeout?"
Shit.
Yeah, they had one timeout. That's
They had
why
one
he had that
timeout.
outburst.
Shitty coaches, bro. That's why you should never hire a 42-year-old to coach a 32-year-old grade. That just don't even sound right, bro. You don't even got the knowledge to even teach me, and that just comes with shitty ass management of James Dolan hiring Ty Lue. You should have hired Mark Jackson. He just
You
got
said
fired from the
James
Warriors.
Dolan? You mean
Ty Lue won him a championship, though, dog.
But Mark Jackson would have taught the team defense and would have extended the championship. You telling me Mark Jackson with Kyrie Irving would never made more than one championship? Just one in Cleveland? Mark Jackson, LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love would have got you 3. Promise you.
I mean, see, the Cleveland, man. First of all, Cleveland lost that. Me personally, I feel like Cleveland lost that first championship because Kyrie was injured. He got hurt game 1. First of all, the whole playoffs he was out.
Yeah,
And
Kevin Love and
Kevin
Kyrie
Love was
out.
hurt too. Kevin Love hurt his shoulder.
Exactly.
So it was just LeBron playing against him the first time. It wasn't, I don't to say they should have won 3. That's a hard ask, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's good? What's your input, chaotic? What you been
Well, I saw that you guys, the Lapeef Network, was live. I wanted to cam up. I don't think I've ever cammed up over here, but I have come across this channel before.
Like your outfit, bro.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Set up, man. That setup fire. That mic look classic.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not a big basketball fan like I once was when I was a kid. But I want to say, but I saw the LeBron on the title, and I'm from Ohio, so I saw the O State and the LeBron. I want to point this out real quick. LeBron is turning into an old bitter woman.
What?
He's turning into an old bitter woman. I think that incident the other day was appalling. The incident when he went to the ref and said, "Can you get them out of here? Can you?" They're talking about me.
Whoa, bro. She said that I wish you would bro. I wish that your son would die in a car accident. You don't say shit about.
Yeah, you don't. Okay, so here goes the thing. I didn't know what they said, and obviously saying something like that is not, something that a fan should do. However, I'm pretty sure that these athletes are getting hurled with insults and threats, throughout the season. And the idea that this man can walk over to the ref and have the ref just kick people out, he's wielding too much power. I think it's time for LeBron to
okay. And then I'll say this then. Would you have said that shit to that man if he was in public in normal street clothes walking around with his wife? Would you say that to Savannah James, that 6'3"? Would you say that to a 6'3" wife, or would you say that to that 6'9" man? Would that
they would have never in a million years said that to LeBron in a million years walking on the street. I mean,
don't open your mouth at a game, then, bro.
I understand that. I understand, but I just feel like LeBron is becoming too much of a diva. I think it's time to retire. He's been in it. Yeah, I think it's time to retire.
I'm LeBron, but that's crazy, bro.
But don't you get so you guys seem more like sports guys? Don't you get tired of watching ESPN and every 2 minutes LeBron brushed his teeth? LeBron did something. LeBron.
How you think the ESPN was in the 90s with Michael? How you think it was in the early 2000s with Kobe and Tim Duncan?
All right. You gotta amplify. Yeah. So you gotta amplify. Everybody's gonna have their time, just everything they do is amplified. With Jordan, could you imagine sports? Can you imagine if technology and social media was available in the Jordan era?
It would have been. It would have been totally different. And that's what and that's what a lot of people who are really young, who are born after 9/11, I call them 9/11 kids. They don't I used to teach for years in the Cleveland public school system, and I used to tell them, Mike Tyson, if he had an Instagram, if Michael Jordan had an Instagram, I'm like, they would have 1 billion plus.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think social media would have improved Tyson's legacy, and I think social media would have ruined Jordan's.
Okay, I think so too. Well, see, we're talking about the generation that we live in terms of the current paradigm and how we think. People back in the 90s weren't pussies, so maybe you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying I feel like Tyson would have gotten exonerated for a lot.
Yeah.
If social media, if camera footage was
trash
available.
boxer, by the way, but go ahead.
And the reason,
you know it. Hold on for a second. I know we're talking about basketball here, but I got to point that out. I'm so tired of Mike Tyson. Oh, Mike Tyson, he was a trash boxer, didn't fight anybody, and the fighters he actually fought washed them. Go ahead, sir. Sorry. I'm a little bit older than you guys. And then, when I was a kid in the 90s, I said he's beating up cab drivers.
That's
all he's done.
That's disrespectful, right here.
I mean, put it this way. No. He was beating up who was available to beat up.
Dishwasher.
You know what I'm saying? I hate when people, not to say what was available, he put them to sleep. So it's like, okay, that's your king, he's sleeping. That's your king, he's sleeping. When towards the end of his career or the height of his career, when you had the Evanders and the Lennox Lewis. I was an Evander fan. The reason I was an Evander fan is because he was a counter puncher. He could take a hit and hit back.
Yeah.
So I personally felt like, Evander was going to beat Tyson because
one of the greats.
He stayed in too long. I mean, he's now getting knocked out by cab drivers. If you haven't seen on TV recently.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be in the ring. He's 60 years old. I don't understand his money situation. I'm not the kind of guy that be in another man's pocket.
Terrible.
But
it's terrible.
I'm a marathon runner. That's the only sport I guess that I do.
Damn.
I'm at 36. I don't even like playing pickup basketball. I'm not risking it. And I'm a trash ass basketball player. I'll probably put 7-8 points in whatever. But I'm trash. But by the way, I got to say something real quick to this 19-year-old in the chat. Yella, the player, says, Tyson, trash? Who mans is this? See, this is how I know he was born in 2004. Sir, Tyson never fought anybody of consequence.
The best boxer ever is Sugar Ray Leonard, little kid. If you want to know the truth, the best boxer ever is Sugar Ray Leonard.
No, that's not true.
Who was the best boxer, Hank?
Muhammad Ali.
Trash. And I'm
Trash.
gonna say this, and I love Muhammad Ali. I damn near dropped the.
I love this dude, man. I love this dude.
Let's be honest. Muhammad Ali got beat by a dude who was 7-0. I can't think of the dude who washed him. The dude was like 6 or 7 fights in. Could you imagine Floyd Mayweather getting rocked by a dude who had a 5-0 record?
Okay, so if I got rocked,
Muhammad Ali, but Hank, I don't disagree with you though either. He could be the greatest. I don't know. Shit, I never boxed.
After that loss, he washed everybody else, man, until the law washed him.
Hold on, let me see. I forgot who it was. Hold on for a second. Muhammad Ali.
Let me tell you this. This is why he's the best. The man had to sit out from boxing because of his religious belief, because he didn't feel the need to go to Vietnam to fight in a war that had nothing to do with him. Yet he came back from a 2.5, 3 year hiatus and won the title 3 times. Man, look here, man. One of the greatest heavyweights ever to put on gloves.
Leon Spinks. That's who washed him. But let's all be honest here. The greatest boxer.
Leon Spinks wasn't a bad fighter. Don't act like he was.
But Leon Spinks was 7-0 though.
You made him sound like he was a bum.
But sir, he's not a bum. I didn't say that. He was 7-0. That's all I'm saying. A veteran like Muhammad Ali should have never, first of all, been in the ring with a dude who was 7-0, let alone getting beat by a dude 7-0. That's appalling. That's like the
you talking about a time where you couldn't duck people, you couldn't avoid people.
Oh yeah, you couldn't wait 3 years.
No, you
couldn't.
You ain't sitting there waiting till guys at the bottom of their career then decide to you want to have a fight like what Floyd does. Floyd said, "I'm gonna fight you now, Pacquiao. I didn't want to fight you in your prime. I want to fight you at your downturn." Sugar Shane Mosley, "I'm gonna fight you when you're on your downside." No, dog. This dude fought anybody and everybody, wherever, whenever.
Right.
He wasn't avoiding anybody.
Right. He fought them when you were supposed to fight them. Like he said, he didn't fight people out their prime. If you was this young dude who was knocking people's brains out, he was like, "All right, bring him in here."
See, this is how I know you dudes don't watch sports. I'm just joking.
Come on, man. Come on, bro.
I'm joking.
I'm finna say.
I'm joking. See, I don't really watch sports, but here goes the thing. There is no way that a person who has never held the WBC, WBO, IBF can get into the ring and box and actually beat Floyd. Canelo, none of these boxers. It's because here goes
corrected that.
Here goes the thing.
You better correct that statement.
I don't have to correct it because it hasn't been done. Who's beat Canelo? Listen. I don't care how hard I train. If I don't have the
Canelo is a bad mother.
If I don't have the ring resume, if I don't have all the battles, how can I level up to fight Canelo or level up to fight Terrence Crawford? That's absurd. Somebody 7-0, 8-0, stepping into the ring and beating Terrence Crawford.
Wait. Eight professional fights, or was it?
Leon Spinks had 7 professional fights under his belt and beat.
He's not an amateur no more after 4 fights.
Ali was washed when that happened, man.
Listen, I've been saying this since I was a kid, and I've been getting chased out of barbershops with the old nigga with the pistol. Listen, the revolver. I've always said that Muhammad Ali was not the greatest. Now, I'm not disagreeing with him. If he believes it, hey, he believes it. But who did Muhammad Ali fight? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When they say Muhammad Ali was
not who did he fight, but I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Go ahead.
When they say Muhammad Ali was the greatest, they talk about because of his accomplishments and the way he moved as a big man in the heavyweight division at the time with the footwork and the mobility. But like if you actually watch Muhammad Ali fights, you will never see a sustained body attack or any variation on speed and punching. He was all head hunting all the time. The truth of the matter is he was athletically superior at the time than most of the heavyweights. That's just what it was. But when they talk about him being the greatest, it's not the most skill ever. It's about the accomplishments and what he gave up in order to stand on his own too as a man. That's why they say he's the greatest. But as far as boxing skills, he's not the best ever.
Well, thing about it ain't something that he gave up. It's something they took from him. They took his title.
They took all his
no reason. They took it.
He could have capitulated and went on a world tour as a mascot for America, but he wasn't about that. So he gave it up. You feel what I'm saying? He had the opportunity to sell out. He ain't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I talked to an old man at the gym. I talked to an old white man at the gym. He was like, all he had to do was go on they weren't going to make him fight. He just had to go on a boxing tour. I tried to explain to him, like, man, he wasn't being respected in his home country, and he had principles to stand on. That's what made him the greatest. He gave it up. Because he could have capitulated. He could have been Stephen A. Smith at the time if he wanted to. He chose not to do that.
Look, now, it was more than just him giving up certain things. Y'all need to watch that Rumble in the Jungle. Y'all need to watch that documentary.
Rumble in the
Jungle. When he fought George Foreman. When he fought Joe Frazier. They had 3 fights, man. You need to watch that. When he fought, I mean, just tonight. It was, he didn't avoid anybody. He asked for, bring them on. Bring them all on. This ain't what you seeing now in 2021, where these fighters ain't gonna fight certain because you fought for HBO or you fight for Showtime. I'm not gonna fight you. We can't fight because of the conflict of interest. No, it wasn't none of that.
Well, it was
when you did your time, you got in that ring, and then
everybody fought on CBS at the time too, man. Let's keep it real, yo. It was no competition in the broadcasting at the time.
Are you
we got to look at
serious?
their business. Back then, you had CBS, NBC. Then we had 4 channels when I was a kid. And that was before then.
Oh, I thought you said competition when it comes to fighters.
I'm talking about competition on who was going to broadcast it, bro. That's who's making these boys not fight. It's the broadcasters, dog. That's who it is. It's the network. Everybody wants championship fights, bro. That's what it is. Everybody got a contract and a tier package for the amount of championship fights they get per year. And that's what's determining who fights who. They're not going to ever consolidate these belts because it lowers down on the content.
Hey, I don't think it's just about the TV contract. Some of these fights say they want to fight, don't really want their smoke. They always talk about, I want to fight him. They don't really want it.
They don't.
Because they don't want to put their reputation on the line.
Anthony
You know what?
Joshua.
Nobody
and,
wants to take a loss.
and
Nobody
Deontay
wants to take a loss.
Wilder.
Nobody want to take a loss for light money. This the thing. All right, so you got a cat like Devin Haney, right? He's independent. He building his own platform. That's thorough for him because he's going to make more money in the long run, right? So when you go to a Devin show, he might sell out a 5,000-seat arena, right? So with his accomplishments and what he's done up to the point now, him being the WBC champion at 135, he feels as though he should get a shot at Tank Davis. And skill for skill, yes, he should. He's been tossed Tank Davis around in sparring several times. Everybody know he matches up skill-wise. But the thing is, you got Tank Davis selling out stadiums, fighting nobody. So at the end of the day, the money don't add up on both sides. When you want to be independent, it's like a dude at an independent record label feeling like he should be doing Summer Jam when he's not selling out the same amount of seats. He making the bread, but he's not selling the same amount of seats. He's not drawing the same amount of eyes. And that's when business messes up boxing. And this is my favorite sport, but the business messes it up.
It's probably, by the way, guys, it's probably best that Tank stays at lightweight. He's going to get washed if he goes to welterweight. I'm just saying.
He is. He is too fucking strong.
And I think that's probably why they're keeping him at that.
140 wide open, though. Lightweight harder than 140 is. I think he's going to play the middle game at light welter at 140 because it's really open right there. 135, it's still some gunners.
So,
sir,
question for you.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Got you, boss.
Because I kind of want to ask Lapeef to go ahead and get him up out of here. He said, are you saying that the 135 division has some hitters?
Tougher than 140? Facts.
Lapeef,
yes.
Go ahead and get him up out of here. Let's get him out of here. Let's get him out of here.
What are we talking
Let's
about?
Get this dude
Oh, man, what are we talking about?
You mean to tell me that the 135 division is stacked, sir? The best
My man,
division,
you trying to pull
the best division, sir. The best division is the welterweight. Let's stop. We know it's no argument.
Of course, we know that. We know that, of course.
But now you're talking crazy now. You're saying 135 got some hitters?
I said it got more hitters than 140, and that's where dude's going to compete at 140 for the most. He's not going to go up to 147 and fight.
Yeah, we're going to be ending within 5 minutes or so.
Okay. He's going to play around at 140 like it's where it's sweet at, just like Canelo, play around in the funny divisions where it's no hitters. That's what they do. That's what they do. I'm a student of boxing knowledge, bro. He gonna play around at 140. He ain't going to 135. He ain't going to 147. He gonna play around at 140.
Yeah,
that's what he gonna do because it's sweet there. Yeah. Just like your boy Canelo gonna jump all the way up to cruiserweight, so he ain't got to play with none of them real cats at 168 and 175. That's where the comp is. So we gonna stay away.
Hey man, Ali's the greatest of all time. Everybody know. I know my man came in there and wanted to kick up some dust to get the conversation started. That man's the greatest.
Muhammad Ali was getting knocked out, sir, in his 30s. I'm sorry. He was all
come on, man. You talking about a guy who fought any and everybody.
Sir,
he's not avoiding people. He's not ducking people.
He fought like 50 fights before the age of 30.
Got...
Floyd fought 50 before the age of 40.
Ain't none of y'all heard of Ray Robinson, bro? None of y'all heard of Ray Robinson?
Yeah, and Sugar Ray. They all used to fight at high levels.
Like, what are we talking about? Come on, man. Ray Robinson won like 100 fights before he lost one, bro.
Hey, did Floyd win a gold medal?
Yeah, no, he got robbed.
No, he did. He got knocked out. That's right.
No, he got robbed.
I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear it, dog.
Come on, man.
I ain't trying to hear it. The greatest. The
Hold
greatest.
on. Let me go
I have
ahead.
been following Floyd Mayweather since the 90s, since I was a little kid. Floyd did not get knocked out. He got the bronze medal. He was robbed. Everybody knows he was robbed of the gold.
Don't put yourself in the position you have to get judged by the judges like that. That's I'll lead it to that.
Sir, okay, he got robbed so bad that the ref,
the ref, everybody got robbed. I got robbed. Shit.
We all got robbed, dog.
We all got robbed, man. Matter of fact, my pockets are light now. I feel like because I got robbed.
Michael Jordan played against cab drivers and chefs, by the way.
There you go. You gonna start some shit, don't you? Yeah, I do come on just to start some shit.
He was the most athletic player back in the 90s. But other than that, everybody right now plays like Jordan and Beck.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Everybody plays like Jordan now, so let's want to point that out.
All right, y'all. We definitely appreciate you guys.
Brothers.
Man.
Lapeef, what are you going
Anybody
live
got
next?
here, JR?
You said what?
When are you going live next? I would like to come up on the panel.
Well, we got some people that's going live. The next live that's going to be broadcasted on here will be tomorrow.
Okay, I would
which
love
is
to
Kay
come
and
up.
Kayla.
I would love to come up.
Hey,
And,
you love to
and
come with Kay and Kayla.
Yeah.
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 I think
Yeah,
I
Come on,
fit
man. I
right
gotta
in.
see this episode. This one gonna be good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This
Hey,
one
just
gonna
make sure
be
that you,
lit.
yeah. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel and put notifications on,
definitely.
and that way you'll know when we go live. And then we got King Talk on Tuesday. Wednesday we're gonna have a show. I'm pretty sure. Thursday, my people, let's talk. Yeah, we're gonna be adding some more things in the mix in between too.
Definitely. And then you guys have a good one. Thanks, man.
You too. Thanks.
Yeah, hit me up. Hit me up,
Good one.
chaotic. Yeah. We got to box some more, bro. This dude talking crazy, fam.
And he needed to respect the
Check out that
greats.
score again, man. So just looking at these scores, are these things surprising y'all? Anybody?
That
Anything on
Bengals
you?
Steelers, man.
Hey, I said it, man. I think that coach running game gonna beat them Tampa Bay Bucks, man. It looks like they coming through with it. We'll see though. But damn,
All
look at that Steelers and Bengals, man. That's crazy.
All right, thanks again, gentlemen. People that's out there, thank you guys for tuning in to Lapeef Sports on Lapeef Network. We'll be going live every Sunday at 10 a.m. Probably won't be this long, but who knows? I mean, we might be able to make it long depending on what we're talking about, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Make sure you guys
All right,
like
brother.
and subscribe.
Later, brothers.
All right, hold it down.
Good.